You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
the People's Channel?
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Andy Burnham snubs Farage.
Well, the Prime Minister says he wants to put politics aside to fix Britain's broken social care system.
So he's invited the Conservatives and the Lib Dems in for crisis talks, but left Nigel Farage and Reform UK off the guest list.
I'm not going to do what Westminster has traditionally done, which is to kick the can down the road on this important issue.
And elsewhere, Labour's giveaway. Parents on benefits could get thousands of pounds if their children become apprentices. But what about the working families paying the taxes?
We'll commit, in my time in office, to get the number of young people who are not in education, employment or training down.
A continent in flames. Hundreds of thousands of people flee Spain and France as record-breaking wildfires continue to savage the region.
They're said to be the worst in France since World War II. And an army of local volunteers have joined firefighters to fight.
And the United States and Saudi Arabia have launched joint airstrikes against Iran-backed militants in Iraq. Is President Trump turning up the pressure on Tehran?
We'll have to just finish the job. They're negotiating on fumes.
A question this morning: should boys and girls always be educated together, or does single-sex education still have a place in modern Britain? Well, we're going to be debating that later on this morning.
Elsewhere, residents say their quiet neighbourhood is changing beyond recognition as more family homes become rentals. Is this happening where you live?
Areas like this can end up like HMO Britain. It's not fair.
Britain's first halal-only student accommodation has sparked outrage. So we're asking this morning, should universities encourage faith-based living?
A very good morning. FIFA President Gianni Infantino's plan to sell off stakes in the World Cup has been described as the privatisation of sport's premier competition. UEFA say football is not FIFA's to sell. Our Prime Minister Andy Burnham has also weighed in with criticism. Join me for more later this hour.
A real north-south split today, fresher, cloudier, wetter across northern parts, but towards the south and southeast, while here it's going to be hot and sunny. Stick around to find out more.
Good morning, it's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast.
What do we make on this single-sex schools debate that we're having a little bit later on? What kind of school did you go to?
I was at state school, mixed, so I went my entire school life with boys and girls in it.
Yeah, and you thought, good, great?
Well, I will say the only downside, and you have to tell me because I don't know what the difference is really, the only downside was I think that you get to a certain teenage years and the boys start playing up for the girls in the classroom.
I see. Well, I also went to a state school, but I went to a girls' school, and I think it was the best thing that could ever happen.
Really?
Because you've got no distractions, you've got no boys playing the class clown, as you say, and I think for girls as well, it just instills a certain level of confidence that you might not have if there were loads of boys in the class.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. What do you make of it, Aidan?
I have quite a strong opinion on it, actually. I went to a mixed comprehensive Catholic school down in Kent, and there was a recognised grammar stream in it, so you could move within the framework if you developed an aptitude for certain things at certain ages. But my theory was that, as Ellie says, in the classroom, boys can be disruptive. I think lessons need to be separate, therefore, but I think that we should try separate lessons, separate gender lessons, but within a mixed school.
There was a study on it once, it would have been probably about 10 years ago now. It's better for girls to be in a single-sex environment for the reasons that I just said, but for boys it's actually better to be with girls because they make you behave better.
Interesting, but then saying that,
they have a calming influence.
I remember I was always terrible at mathematics.
Same.
And my maths class, I was always in the lowest set, and it was with all the worst people.
Oh no!
It was. So
they probably thought that about you.
They probably did actually. They probably did, and then it was like because of that, the boys and the girls in that room were just an absolute nightmare.
Oh, fun though.
You can't ignore the stats though, can you? It's
funny.
been said for 30 years or more that girls perform better without boys in the classroom, and probably. Goes the other way as well, to a degree.
To a degree, yeah, totally agree with you. It's just boys in the classroom, obviously, we're just the most disruptive force,
boys
aren't we,
are just massive.
I was a nightmare with the Bunsen burner.
Yeah.
I can imagine,
You laid the gas on, did you?
Anyway, let us know what you think. You will have a view, especially when it comes to your children and grandchildren. Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say.
All right, let's go to our top story, because the Prime Minister says he wants to put politics aside to fix Britain's broken social care system, with plans for a new tax on workers now being considered to help pay for it.
Yes, but while the Conservatives and the Lib Dems have been invited to Downing Street for crisis talks today, Nigel Farage and Reform UK, well, their invitation seems to have been lost in the post.
It does, doesn't it? And it's also been revealed that parents on benefits will be given £4,500 a year if their children become apprentices.
Well, ministers said the new bursaries were part of plans to create 50,000 new apprenticeships and stop school leavers falling into a life on benefits.
But is this more proof the government is once again forgetting about you, the working people?
So much to go through this morning, so we're very pleased to see Duncan Barks in the studio with us, the political commentator. Duncan, good to see you as always.
Thank you. Morning.
Shall we start with this new tax being mooted in order to fund social care?
Yeah, this is really interesting. So we knew this was coming down the pipeline. Later on today, Andy Burnham will make a speech, we believe, mid-morning at a care home somewhere in the United Kingdom. And he's talking about how we need to tackle this issue that, over the years, many many governments and prime ministers have tried to get a grip on, which is how do you fund social care? So the background to this is we have an older population getting bigger, living for longer. There is a greater need for social care when you get to your later years and you need support. Very interesting stats on the front page of the Daily Express this morning, courtesy of Age UK, saying 2 million missing out on social care that they need. So that's the scale of the kind of issue. And over the years, various politicians have tried to get a grip on this. You may recall in 2017, Theresa May put something in the Conservative Party manifesto about increased funding and possibly taxation. It was dubbed the dementia tax, and the Tories lost a massive chunk of their majority when they did get back into Parliament. So this has been a long-running issue here. Andy Burnham talks about a new kind of politics, right? He talks about collaboration. And what we know so far is we know that the Liberal Democrats have said to Andy Burnham, we'll work with you on this in order to find a solution. We know that Kemi Badenoch, leader of the Tories, has written to Andy Burnham saying, we want to make this work, however, we don't believe you should be raising taxes or indeed increase borrowing. So what we're hopefully going to hear later on today is possibly an outlining of some kind of solution here. I mean, we all know the problem exists, right? And there's a challenge that needs to be dealt with, but what are the answers? So Andy Burnham's talking about this national conversation he wants to have, yet it seems quite bizarre that as part of that national conversation, a major political party is not going to be part of it because he's not invited Reform UK and Nigel Farage to contribute to finding a solution here.
Yeah, that is a key part of the story this morning. Is that the case because it's simply MPs that the Prime Minister needs? Because, of course, his backbenchers have, well, they've signalled very strongly multiple times now that they will rebel, perhaps up to 80 of them, if the welfare bill is cut. And if he needs the numbers to get this over the line, he, of course, could rely on the Lib Dems, which I suspect would be the case. But the Tories, as they'll be part of this conversation, will say, well, if you want our MPs to lend their votes to you, we will not allow you to raise taxes to fund this. Therefore, you must cut something, and the only thing you can cut is welfare.
Or also cut borrowing. You know, we pay 105 to 110 billion pounds a year at the moment in debt interest alone. This is the elephant in the room, OK? I mean, we often hear about solutions to stuff. Is it about more taxation or is it about borrowing more? We can't continue to borrow in the way that we are because it's going to damage this country's economy beyond repair. So the alternatives are you raise taxes or what you do is you look at cutting from elsewhere. But you're absolutely right, Alex. The problem is, and we saw it with Keir Starmer when he tried to get in some very tiny tweaks to welfare spending and increasing the budget, you've got a rump of Labour backbench MPs who are quite vocal, who will just go, well, you cannot touch welfare. So the thing that Andy Burnham needs to do later on today is not just identify there's a problem, because we know there's a problem with social care, but what are the solutions?
Elsewhere, Duncan, but related, we're talking about extra benefits, this time being handed to parents of apprentices. Tell us more.
Yeah, so this is a £4.5 bursary, if you like, that's being suggested by the government in order to get young people into apprenticeships, some kind of carrot, if you like. Now, this is kind of interesting because we've had the groundwork that's been laid by Burnham recently, this idea that not everyone should go to university. I never went to university, you know, I got work experience in newsrooms and newspapers and radio stations and stuff. University is not for everyone, and Andy Burnham is very clear that he wants to depart from what was really a mindset set up under the Blair era, which is everyone should have the opportunity. So this is all about getting more and more people into apprenticeships. This, if you like, is a kind of carrot, some might say a bung, of £4.5 to parents on benefits if their child takes up an apprenticeship. Now, you can look at this in the cold and sober light of day and just go, do you know what? He's trying to do the right thing here and give kids who aren't necessarily educationally minded a leg up. However, where you come a bit of a cropper is people who are working hard, who are not on benefits, might be thinking, hang on a second, well, I'm doing the best I can. I could do with that £4.5 for my child or for my family to help them maybe get towards an apprenticeship. And the danger with something like this is, and we've used this term in the past, of two-tier Britain. You know, people have talked about two-tier policing, two-tier justice. You can argue here there's another example of, what is it, two-tier benefits, which is, you know what, have some more money. Whereas people who are now watching and listening to GB News because they're driving to work early doors are thinking, hang on a second, I'm doing everything possible and I'm not getting this help.
Well, that's right, and interesting, both you and I picked up the same comment, actually, from Donna here. £4,500 is making me so angry. I did an apprenticeship and earned £29 a week, and out of that I had to pay rent to my parents, bus fare and lunch. My sons both did apprenticeships and paid rent. Mind-boggling labour, loony labour. Yes. I totally agree. It is mind-boggling, Duncan, and I think people just want... Of course, where possible to get people back to work is great, but if the problem is the benefit system, fix the benefit system so it doesn't pay more than working. I think that is quite obvious.
Yeah. Duncan, thank you. We are seeing you in the next hour, so we'll chat to you again then. Thank you very much. So many of you getting in touch this morning. Lots of you getting in touch on schools as well. Ali says girls and boys should study together. It helps with confidence and social skills. But Gay agrees with me. She says, I went to an all-girls state school. It was excellent. I later worked in mixed schools and the situation there does not favour girls.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just better for boys and mixed.
Yeah, I think it probably is,
Probably is.
Anyway, that's what we think.
Yeah. All right, elsewhere, firefighters are continuing to battle major wildfires in both France and Spain.
Yes, around 360,000 people have been evacuated across the two countries, with the blaze in Spain described as the largest wildfire ever recorded in the country.
Wow, that is incredible. Meanwhile, the wildfire just outside Bordeaux, France, of course, has burned through an area 4 times the size of Paris.
Well, GB News national reporter Will Godley has been in the south of France for us.
It's a race to stop the fires. They're said to be the worst in France since World War II, and an army of local volunteers have joined firefighters to fight these flames.
We need to help firemen. We need. So it's very important for us.
An area bigger than the Isle of Wight has already been destroyed in this fire, now entering its second week.
Well, much of the flames have subsided in the fire nearest Bordeaux, but still incredibly hot, with temperatures rising. The worry is that those flames could return.
More than 250,000 people have been evacuated from the region, 10,000 of them staying here. British expats are keen to help. Emma and Leah live in Bordeaux and are donating clothes to those in need after many of their friends were forced to flee.
You just think these poor people, that whether they're on holiday or whether they're leaving their homes just like that overnight and they've got nothing. Many of our friends already been evacuated. It's just that, it's that worry.
They're taking no chances and now heading east, away from the fires, with their friend Kate, who's joined them on holiday from the UK.
It has changed our plans, because our plans originally were to go to that lovely area, and I was really looking forward to that. So obviously it's a different holiday we're having now.
As they escape the fires, on the front line, firefighters remain, fighting the flames, now just 9 miles away from Bordeaux. Will Godley, GB News, Southwest France.
All right, joining us now is Lisa Minnow from The Sun, travel editor there. Lisa, thanks for joining us this morning. This is quite severe. Good morning. This is quite severe, this wildfire in both Spain and France, some of it being described as the worst wildfires ever recorded. I think it's probably a slight exaggeration, but it still explains the scale of these wildfires. What should those travelling abroad know?
Well, I think it's just about being prepared before you go, making sure that you have all of the information about where you're travelling to. So at the moment, we've got fires raging in Bordeaux region of France. We've also got them in Spain, just on the outskirts of Madrid, and now in Portugal as well, in the La Guardia region. So we've obviously going to have to make sure that, this is nothing new. We've had wildfires in the summer across Europe forever. What we have seen, though, this year is that intense period of heat. We've had those heat waves. We've got very much drought-like situations, and that's a sort of tinderbox when it comes to these fires, which can occur naturally. Other fires, unfortunately, are being started by humans, and there is a discussion to be had about that. But it's about being prepared before you go. I think that's the most important thing, is making sure that you are aware of all of the numbers of the local authorities, follow them on social media. So I'm down here in the south of France myself at the moment. I follow the local fire brigade on social media. I follow the local authorities on social media. So I'm able to see the situation and sort of get ahead of it if at all possible.
It must be so difficult for those areas that have been affected, Lisa, because so many of them rely on tourism. And these tourists, looking at these pictures on the screen right now, are just going to stay well away.
Yes, as the people in your report just before have said, I think it is going to be devastating for communities that really rely on that very short summer tourist season to sort of get them going throughout the year. So I mean, hopefully, one thing I do know about this, we had fires here about 5 years ago. It took 2 days, but you were evacuated onto the beach. It took 2 days, but the fires were extinguished, and we did go back to normal very quickly. And all we can hope is that the same happens in this situation.
Indeed it is. I guess that is going to be a very difficult problem to solve at the moment with the ongoing heatwave, because there's another bout of hot weather heading our way.
Yeah.
What does this mean for tackling this blaze at this point, Lisa?
Well, I mean, that is more serious, because once you've got those intense heat on top of the fires, it really doesn't help the firefighters in trying to actually keep these blazes under control. You can start to see areas reignite. We saw that here in south of France 5 years ago, an area that had been extinguished, reignited. And that's what the real worry is about this intense heat. Hopefully, if the weather conditions are favourable in terms of wind, that should start to make them be able to turn the tide and start to actually tackle the fire and really get it under control.
OK, Lisa, good to see you this morning. Thank you very much for bringing that to us.
Thank you.
OK, so some breaking news from overnight. America and Saudi Arabia have launched overnight joint airstrikes against Iran-backed militant groups in Iraq, targeting weapons and logistics sites across the east of the country.
Well, the United States Central Command says the operation came after more than 30 drone attacks were launched against American forces and Saudi energy infrastructure in the past 72 hours.
And joining us now from Washington, D.C. is geopolitical expert Kate Jones. Kate, thanks for joining us today. We are seeing, the Middle East just erupt in flames time and time again. The ceasefire in Iran has broken down. We've seen the Houthis taking shots. We've now got bombing campaigns in Iraq as well. How bad is the geopolitical instability in the region at this point in time?
Well, clearly things have stalled. And there had been discussions of some sort of talks about some peace arrangements by the president just before this occurred. So I think at this stage it's showing some internal friction for the Iranians, and there may be some in power that would like to negotiate and others who do not. And so that sort of bringing together that the groups seems to have been one of the difficulties. And the IRGC in this case, it was said that they had called out for these strikes against energy infrastructure and also U.S. forces. So this is a significant shift towards another region. So that it's highly problematic. And one of the really difficult sticking points in any negotiation was control over the strait. Iran really wants to be able to control the strait. And it is quite possible now that any kind of concession comes from other Arab countries that are willing to potentially pay tolls, anything to get things opened up again. The president is pretty steadfast, it seems, though. So, again, this is an expansion.
And Kate, where do you think we're going from here in terms of negotiation, in terms of an eventual deal? It seems like we're a long, long way off from that.
Well, they have these distant sticking points, and the two sticking points are Iran has always wanted some level of control over the strait. It sees its sort of geographical strength, and clearly we can see that playing out on the international stage. And the other one is on its nuclear materials. It has no intention to give those up. And, clearly those are also the red lines of the United States president, to have free passage in international waters and also to give up that nuclear program. And one of the discussions was about Pickaxe Mountain, which keeps coming up. And so one of the big threats is some sort of an attack on Pickaxe. Pickaxe is a place where there's resiliency. It's a node for reconstituting a nuclear program after the strikes that have occurred. So, how that might take place, it would be a very difficult mission. But that's kind of lingering in the background. But we often see these things threatened as an attempt to get some kind of concession. And both sides are running an endurance game of who can handle this lengthy, protracted fight, because nobody wants to make any concessions. I think the most significant thing, though, was Scott Bessent came out today and said that Iran was suffering greatly because the Treasury had proven to be a bigger weapon than the Department of War. And so the financial issues are the ones that are really pushing on Iran right now.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for joining us to give us an update on that critical moment in geopolitics at this time. It seems very, very severe, doesn't it? Kate Jones, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Kate. Now, 21 minutes past 6. Let's take a look at some other stories coming to the newsroom this morning.
Ed Miliband is travelling to France and Spain on his first European visit as Foreign Secretary. Well, he's expected to discuss security, support for Ukraine, peace in the Middle East and migration.
A lot on his plate then. Climate is also expected to be raised in both meetings, as, of course, we've been discussing this morning, France and Spain are battling those devastating wildfires.
And more than 33 million illegal cigarettes have been seized from local shops and high streets in a major crackdown on illicit tobacco. Trading standards say the trade is often run through shops and vape stores on UK high streets, with organised criminal gangs using it to fund wider crime.
More than 220,000 fake football shirts have been seized in a major nationwide operation. Police are warning that fake shirts are not a harmless bargain, with profits helping fund organised crime and some products failing safety standards.
All right, shall we have a little look at the weather?
Let's. I think it's going to be a lovely week.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There's a bit more rain to come across northern parts today, whilst further south the dry and hot weather continues, with temperatures in the southeast higher than yesterday. Let's first though talk about the rain across northern areas. A band of rain, not especially heavy this morning, but could pep up into something but more persistent, running across Northern Ireland into central parts of Scotland. And there are a few outbreaks of rain across other northern areas too, and here it's quite cloudy. More sunshine there across central southern parts of England in particular, and in the southeast, like I said, markedly hotter than yesterday. Highs of around 35 Celsius. Could be the 7th day this year where somewhere in the UK exceeds 35. Into the evening, and it's generally dry across northern parts of Scotland. A few outbreaks of rain here and there, maybe even some glimmers of sunshine, but generally quite cloudy. Wetter across central and eastern areas. A band of rain, which could be a bit heavy at times, continues through the evening and the start of the night. Northern Ireland will see most of the rain having cleared through, so a drier end to the day here. And across the bulk of England and Wales, it's going to be a fine end to the day as well. The clearer skies towards the southeast. A lot of the rain across Scotland will clear away as we go overnight, but there is some further rain set to come in from the west through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Outbreaks of rain mainly across western parts of Scotland, a bit further south as well. Fresher air in the north means temperatures here could drop to single figures in some prone spots, but further south it's another warm night to come. Temperatures holding up in mid to high teens Celsius. More showery rain across northern parts in particular through tomorrow. Some of this turning heavy, even thundery, especially across northern parts of Scotland through the day. Watch out for some higher rainfall totals building up here. Further south, apart from a few showers perhaps around some southern coastal parts, it is going to be dry, but not as hot as it has been today. Temperatures peaking around 28 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
All right, look, still to come. Future World Cups could be plunged into chaos as European nations threaten a sensational boycott over plans to sell off part of FIFA.
But first, Britain needs homes, prisons and power stations, but are health and safety rules stopping us from building anything? We're going to be getting into that next.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me. What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Well, a recent report found that builders' productivity has declined since the 1970s, with one builder attributing the slowdown to factors including planning, red tape and increased smartphone use.
Well, according to Bricky Mark Lenihan, the decline has contributed to Britain's chronic housing shortage by slowing the delivery of new homes.
Yes, and here to speak to us now was the Director of Policy and Market Insights at the National Federation of Builders, Rico Void-Tulevich. Good morning, Rico. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Tell us a little bit more about what's going on here, because our government wants to build, build, build. It's saying we're going to build more council houses, build more homes across the UK. But at the same time, reports are suggesting holding us back is all of this red tape.
Good morning, yeah, and for my own health and safety, I've been pushed in the garage today because the children got a terrible night, so we have to follow some rules. So apologies for the background. Look, the piece is really interesting by Mark and the comments made because, and I'm going to give you a lot of credit here because you often talk about the biggest issue here, and that's the planning system and the way the system is shaped, whereby it's very big companies that don't directly employ. It's really big contractors that subcontract at the lowest price. And you always give me a platform to discuss that because actually industry knows that's the biggest issue for productivity because if you can't control your direct workforce, it's much harder to meet health and safety regulations. And health and safety is one of these funny things. We've had a massive decrease in deaths, and that's fantastic. Many people will say, have we gone too far? We've just had the Building Safety Act and the Building Safety Regulator. It took 2 years to make changes that actually operated. It still very much favours the very big company because you've got all this paperwork. In fact, you're better not to employ a tradesperson but to have an administrator just to get these regs over the line. And it means that especially if you're a smaller company, and they're 99% of builders out there, they perhaps go a little bit over the top to try and meet the regs to prove that competency. And we have courses to try and help members meet those regs more easily. But they say, but don't need to put this in and this in and this in. And it's those smaller companies that really desperately try and meet all the regs. And that's the problem government doesn't quite understand. When they try and fix something, they actually disproportionately impact the most productive companies.
What changes would you like to see, Rico, in order for the industry to open up, to allow people like yourself to build, build, build?
Well, look, really, this is primarily about the planning system. And when I say planning, I don't mean you just get a planning permission. It's, it takes a while. You do your due diligence. You can spend £150,000 to get, say, a development of 30 to a decision. That's not a yes or a no for planning. But let's say you get planning, it can take 18 months on a site of up to 50 or 16 months, and then takes 18 months to cross the T's, dot the I's, and then you can actually put a shovel in the ground. And then throughout that whole process, you have to sign off loads of planning conditions, and then that gets signed up by the planning departments if other departments have time to actually say yes and no to the things you're doing. And then you might have stuff like pre-occupation conditions, which means you can't sell the property until you meet another condition condition. So when we talk about planning, and thanks, you guys always let me talk about this, it's this whole plethora of challenges. And if you think you're an employer, you're effectively taking the risk to employ somebody for 18 months, 2 years, 3 years on a small project just to not pay them to maybe get planning over the line before you realise any. And that is what this government has to solve. And back on the health and safety thing, yesterday we had actually a very good announcement that 14-year-olds will be doing vocational studies, where you're going to have to change the health and safety regulations to enable them to get on site, because currently, good luck getting somebody of 14 on a construction site.
Yeah, this is so true.
That's a fantastic point.
Yeah, Rico, thanks for joining us. I think this is so important because we do need to build more homes, because it's putting up the price, making it impossible for younger generations to get in the housing market. It's making it very difficult for people to get mortgages. It's also social housing is completely full. And so if we really do want to build and give people homes, we have to do this stuff. Rico, thank you very much for joining us to share those reasons why. Thank you.
Anytime, thank you.
Now at 6:32, if you are travelling to work this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A428 is closed after the A1 near St Neots. The A417 is closed after the A419. The M6 southbound between junctions 15 and 14 in Stone is affected by an obstruction. In Scotland, the A90 Kingsway in Dundee is closed in both directions between Old Glamis Road roundabout and Strathmartine Road roundabout due to overnight roadworks. Across Wales, the A40 from Pensarn West to Abergwili is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Exeter, St David's and Paignton. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us, still to come. We're going to be crossing live to the south of France, where GB News is witnessing the devastation being caused from wildfires there.
But first...
Yes, indeed. FIFA President Gianni Infantino's plan to sell off stakes in the World Cup has been described as the privatisation of sport's premier competition. Find out why with me after the break.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the late edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, late edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, late edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Portillo, every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told?
Good,
because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. Aidan McGee's here, and Aidan, I tell you what, Gianni Infantino...
He's got to be in his bonnet this morning.
I do, because of this story. Go on, take it away. Tell us what's going on with the World Cup.
Look, it would appear anyway, and it's silly season, so this story has been overblown slightly, I would suggest, because we're in sort of towards the end of July, but it's all over the front pages of the papers and some of the back as well. Gianni Infantino, or Johnny Infantino, as President Trump calls him, is planning to sell off some parts of the World Cup, stakes of the World Cup. Now, not all of the World Cup makes money, but the bits that do, it's a bit like the post office when it was sold off. The bits that sell the parcels are expensive and worth something, but if you're trying to get a letter from the Isle of Wight to the Isle of Skye for 55p, it doesn't work. Yeah. It's similar with this, because it's the delivery of the World Cup that makes the money. We now have a situation, Alex and Ellie, where in America, for example, if you want to host the World Cup, you don't just get awarded it, you have to pay for the privilege. And you then claw back your money by charging through the nose for transport apparatus, hotels, that kind of stuff, which makes it expensive for everybody, in addition to the cost of the tickets. Now, this is the praise of it. If FIFA would set up a firm for operational delivery of the World Cup, and that would effectively control the Men's World Cup, the Women's World Cup and the Club World Cup. Those are the three tournaments. It sounds a lot, but they're every 4 years. This is their opportunity to make money. They want to make this private. Sorry, Ellie, you want to say something?
I was just going to say, what's he hoping to achieve with this? But I think you've just answered that question.
Yeah, look, it's money. The Premier League is a private organisation. It makes money every day of the year. NFL, similar franchise, makes money every day of the year. This competition is the biggest event in the world. Not even a sporting event. Nothing is bigger than the World Cup. When England do well over here, it wipes everything else off the news agenda. OK, it's huge. So they want opportunities outside of just World Cups to make money. The turnover this year is going to be around about £13 billion. So they want a bit of that all over the place. And if you look at Infantino, his salary is around, I don't know, it's probably in the hundreds of thousands, maybe a few million or something. If he takes over the company which earns some of the franchise or some of the stake for delivery of the World Cup, he could be in line for £50 million a year.
Yeah. And so this is my problem with it, Aidan. Is it? Are they planning to privatise?
Yeah, the bits that make money. The bits that make money.
But 13 billion is a lot of money, even if you split that over 4 years.
Yes.
You're talking at least a few billion every year, right? So it's not like they're strapped for cash.
No, they're certainly not. Let me just give you some more detail of the plan. FIFA would then own the majority share in the company that's set up. Now, it would be more than one company, but I suggest one would be bigger than all the rest. But investors could purchase 20 to 30%, which would then amount to billions of dollars. Each of FIFA's 211 member associations would also be given a stake worth approximately £15 million, which they could keep or sell. So you can trade in your shares if you want. It becomes a big bonanza. And then Infantino would then be in line, as I mentioned, to run the company. And this is an interesting aside as well. One proposed investor is Joshua Kushner, the younger brother of Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. So it really does stink, and no wonder everyone's up in arms. And Andy Burnham weighed in yesterday, but he's very critical. He said as soon as you take the sport away, or the World Cup away from fans, it dilutes it. Then there's the issue of the member nations. Ellie, if they start boycotting the World Cup, there is no show. UEFA have criticised it as well. There's beef between Ceferin and Infantino. Anyway, this is the real gritty sport politics, you know. And they could end up separating. The UEFA controls the Champions League, so that's the European governing body, whereas FIFA is the entire world. If the individual bodies from around the world pull away from FIFA, they're out on their own. So players aren't going to kick a ball. You've got a serious problem.
This reminds me of the Super European League. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, you know what? We were threatened with that for years. The football clubs will go away and set up their own league. They'll go and play by themselves, stuff the rest of you. When they tried it, I was in the thick of the protest because I was reporting on it, and I know football, right? I know ball, that's the phrase, right?
I know ball.
I know ball. You know it. Yeah, so you sound like Trump.
Ellie,
I did not, even at Chelsea, which is a very corporate club, I did not bank on or did not bargain for the ferocity of the protests.
Yeah.
And that sent a message to the clubs: if you go and play on your own, fine, go and play on your own, but no one's going to watch.
No.
You could desert your club.
You could
Chelsea fans were holding up banners saying we want our Tuesday nights in Stoke.
Yeah. I just think this is completely bonkers. I think they've lost their mind. They're getting greedy, and I think talking about taking the game away from fans. Look at the ticket prices for this World Cup. I mean, this is the problem.
My nephew paid £6,000 for his World Cup final ticket, but this gives you an idea of the demand. Okay.
Yeah.
When he realised England weren't getting there, he was able to sell it at a profit.
Yeah.
So, which is extraordinary.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
Within 24 hours, and there was a queue of people willing to pay him probably $7-8 grand for it. So he's very canny. I don't know where he gets that from.
Yeah.
Very good, Aidan.
I wonder.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aidan. We'll talk more about that outrage in the next hour or so. Still to come.
The PM has unveiled plans to pay families up to £4,500 to compensate for any benefits lost when their teenager takes up an apprenticeship.
That's all coming up in the papers this morning with Suzanne Evans and David Wooding. But first,
here's your forecast across Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The heat wave that's leading to some exceptional temperatures and wildfires across parts of France and Spain, Portugal at the moment, that is continuing, but we're seeing the peak of the heat across France today, and then some of that hot air is pushing further eastwards. For Spain, Portugal, however, the hot weather continues into tomorrow. Further east and for Italy, even towards parts of Greece, temperatures in the high 30s, low 40s, with plenty of sunshine to come as we head into the weekend. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Should James Bond stay white and male?
Yes, I think that's probably the best course of action. If you think about it, Amazon have taken over Bond about a year ago, and they're a big company, aren't they? And this is a risk, isn't it? They don't want to be seen to cast their first James Bond in anything other than the most popular Bond to everybody. So if you're a casting director, like Debbie McWilliams has said, the previous one, I suppose it'd be who would be the most popular? What's the safest thing to do? So I think, you know, in other iterations, you know, there's nothing to say he couldn't be anything other than white, but this is the first one back, so I think it would be the safe thing to do. And it has to be a man. That's non-negotiable. I think audiences would instantly be complaining, and they want as little controversy going into this new film as they can.
The People's Channel. Martin Daubney. Weekdays from 3 p.m.
With the football, a row has erupted. A racism row again, this time at a Kent secondary school after pupils' children were allegedly told to scrub painted England flags from their arms because, you've guessed it, they were deemed as racist. Is this the woke flag monitors simply spoiling everybody's fun?
Now, look, if we are going to police flags, that's clearly a problem. I think there are lots of people who feel negatively towards the England flag because of what it's represented in the past, and that's a real shame. But it's nice to see that new generations, you know, I'm the son of immigrants, and I don't feel that. I haven't inherited that, and that's really positive.
Look,
so we should be able to, especially during a football match, fly that flag with pride and enjoy it.
I know that part of the world a little bit. I travelled to Broadstairs, Thanet, Sandwich. You see the Union flag, and particularly the England flag, everywhere.
Yes.
Even under normal circumstances, you see the England flag being proudly flown. So this is completely insane.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
There was a Ryanair flight from Thessaloniki in Greece, and a part of the plane hit the window and pulled it out. And so this man, a 61-year-old Serbian man, was sucked out of the window. And his wife, she says that she was desperately holding onto his legs to keep him inside the plane for 5 minutes. Wow. It was horrendous. Apparently the aircraft did eventually land normally and passengers were safe and a replacement airline was sent. he was taken to hospital with friction burns. It was a part of the propeller had come loose from the engine and it had hit the window, and that's what had taken the window out. So it wasn't as though it was thought to be loose in the first place. But can you imagine?
No.
I mean,
I don't want to.
Unbelievable.
I'm
not a good flyer, I have to admit. This terrifies me.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. We are going through the papers this morning in the company of David Wooding and Suzanne Evans. Morning, you two. Good to see you both. Suzanne?
Yes.
Let's start with this benefits bribe, shall we, for parents of apprenticeships. This is the front page of the Daily Mail this morning.
Yeah, so earlier in the week, Andy Burnham promised he was going to get a grip on benefits. And now it seems there's a new one coming out. So there you go. It applies to 16 and 17-year-olds registered as having a disability and living in a single-parent household. So it's a few thousand people, and basically their families are going to be paid up to £4,500 to compensate them for benefits lost when they take on an apprenticeship. So this has been called a bung, it's been called a bribe, and I have to say I can't see much argument with that, to be honest. You know, more taxes to raise benefits, again, exactly the opposite of what a new government should be doing.
Yeah, it's really upset our audience today, David.
Yeah,
because
they're not happy.
They're working people, and they're sitting there saying some of them actually have done apprenticeships before and
their
didn't get
kids
the
are on
support.
apprenticeships now.
Kids are on now, and these are people who aren't going to get. I think that the real slap in the face is that these are people who are already not working, families that are not working, where they're going to get more benefits just to help them to go to work.
Absolutely, and one of the reasons why people are not going into work is because doesn't pay. It's easier to stay at home and claim the benefits. And we had some facts out this week which showed that young people on benefits were earning £100 more than people who were going to work. So where's the incentives to get a job there?
Oh, I've just lost my view that I'm prepared. But there was a view here that just said, I've just got in from work at 6 a.m. I've got two sons on apprenticeships. One's an electrician, the other one's a plumber. He doesn't get any help. Does he just say, do I just quit work and then claim my £4,500?
Yeah.
Is that the way
But honestly, I hear that from people.
Yeah.
I genuinely do. I hear it from people my age. I'm 35. And Suzanne, I hear from people saying to me, what's the point? What's the point?
Absolutely.
Like, they think they're going to get... some of the higher earners are like, they're mooting a top rate of income tax change. There's people sat on benefits earning up to sometimes 20 grand a year. There's a whole family of people. We've seen the benefits bill go even higher than that. The two-child benefit cap's been lifted. I mean, what is the point?
I hear this all the time. What is the point going to work when I could actually just be sitting at home doing nothing, watching the telly and actually making more money? And it is absolutely appalling. I mean, and I was quite encouraged, actually, when Andy Burnham said he was going to try and get a grip on this. And then this comes out from Work and Pension Secretary Pat McFadden. So it's clearly... And what annoys me as well is, you're talking about this extra £4,500, but the people who are going to be paying for that are people on minimum wage who, frankly, could do with a bit more money in their pocket, so yet they're still being taxed on minimum wage. I think it's completely
Don't you
wrong.
think it's probably a sop to the left of the Labour Party, who don't want to touch welfare bills, and by doing this they feel that it's a little payback?
It won't work, though, will
what
it?
is,
Because the lot that voted against welfare reform under Keir Starmer's government are going to carry on voting against welfare reform. They're just determined not to look at it whatsoever. So do as many sops as you like, but, the extremists will never pick up a sop. They will just keep on wanting more and more and more.
And meanwhile, people who actually do need benefits, which is what the point of the system is there to really help people who are suffering, who can't work anymore for reasons, obviously, that they can't control, will suffer eventually because the benefits bill will have to collapse.
They will, and I think, the point about this, about it's going to kids, teenagers who are disabled. The fact now is that, it sounds awful to say this, because a disability is a disability, but now we know it's for things like depression and anxiety, which are not disabilities as I think most of us consider that to be. We think about a disability as something like my father had, a serious disability when he couldn't walk, had to leave his job, retrain, work very hard.
Absolutely.
David, let's look at something entirely different, shall we? This is in the Express today, and this is the Education Secretary, Lucy Powell. Her comments on these vocational courses. Tell us more.
Yes, well, Andy Burnham is trying, and his Education Secretary, Lucy Powell, are going to introduce more vocational qualifications, or rather more vocational teaching in schools. And it's going to kick in at year 10, which is the 4th year of secondary school. Now, Lucy Powell is saying it's not dumbing down the education system. What I feel it does do is it doesn't give kids the choice at that age. I think youngsters still need to be able to learn to read and write properly, no matter whether you're doing vocational skills or not. We do need vocational education, that's for sure, but perhaps a little bit later on. If you can't read and write, you can't do mathematics, then what's the point? I think so they've got to be very careful here, but yet again, Andy Burnham's being a slave to his Manchester mayoralty. This is all based on a thing called the MBAC, which he pioneered in Manchester, the Manchester Baccalaureate, which actually brought in the choice of vocational education. And I saw it in my school years ago, where certain youngsters were shoved into things like rural studies, metalwork, woodwork, those sort of things, and the rest of us were put in English and maths if we were seen as capable.
I think, to be fair, the idea as it stands is that you are able to do both. So you do your core subjects, you do your English and maths and science perhaps, and then you mix it with a bit of construction or whatever takes your fancy. But anyway, we're out of time with you this hour, I'm afraid. You too, Suzanne and David. Really good to see you both. We'll see you again in about 45 minutes' time. Thank you.
All right, well, now it's the Great British Giveaway. The British Giveaway, I was going to call it.
British.
Someone downgraded it from Great British Giveaway.
Still
It is still great. 60 grand in tax-free cash and...
Oh, a real gold bar worth over £5,000.
That's right, here's all the details.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British Giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like this year. What would you do with that? And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. It's pure gold to own, trade or gift to a loved one and secure their financial future. So make sure you don't miss your chance to bank over £65,000 worth of prizes in our Golden Summer celebration. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, still to come. Yes, good luck to everybody from the British giveaway, the Great British Giveaway.
Yes, now, as Andy Burnham holds crisis talks over social care, there's one noticeable absence. Why parents on benefits facing the possibility of being handed thousands more pounds. All of that coming up after your weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There's a bit more rain to come across northern parts today, whilst further south the dry and hot weather continues, with temperatures in the southeast higher than yesterday. Let's first though talk about the rain across northern areas. A band of rain, not especially heavy this morning, but could pep up into something but more persistent, running across Northern Ireland into central parts of Scotland. And there are a few outbreaks of rain across other northern areas too, and here it's quite cloudy. More sunshine though across central southern parts of England in particular, and in the southeast, like I said, markedly hotter than yesterday. Highs of around 35 Celsius. Could be the 7th day this year where somewhere in the UK exceeds 35. Into the evening, and it's generally dry across northern parts of Scotland. A few outbreaks of rain here and there, maybe even some glimmers of sunshine, but generally quite cloudy. Wetter across central and eastern areas. A band of rain which could be a bit heavy at times continues through the evening and the start of the night. Northern Ireland will see most of the rain having cleared through, so a drier end to the day here. And across the bulk of England and Wales, it's going to be a fine end to the day as well. The clearer skies towards the southeast. A lot of the rain across Scotland will clear away as we go overnight, but there is some further rain set to come in from the west through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Outbreaks of rain mainly across western parts of Scotland, a bit further south as well. Fresher air in the north means temperatures here could drop to single figures in some prone spots, but further south it's another warm night to come. Temperatures holding up in mid to high teens Celsius. More showery rain across northern parts in particular through tomorrow. Some of this turning heavy, even thundery, especially across northern parts of Scotland through the day. Watch out for some higher rainfall totals building up here. Further south, apart from a few showers perhaps around some southern coastal parts, it is going to be dry, but not as hot as it has been today. Temperatures peaking around 28 Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. There is an incident on the M23 southbound between junctions 8 and 9 in Reigate. The M25 clockwise between junctions 5 and 6 in Sevenoaks is affected by an obstruction. The A428 is closed after the A1 near St Neots. In Scotland, the M8 is restricted in both directions between junctions 16 and 18 due to essential bridge repairs, with delays expected. Across Wales, the A40 from Pensarn West to Abergwili is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Exeter St David's and Paignton. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister says he wants to put politics aside to fix Britain's broken social care system.
But not everyone is invited to the crisis talks. The Conservatives and the Lib Dems are, but Reform UK has been shut out.
I'm not going to do what Westminster has traditionally done, which is to kick the can down the road on this important issue.
Elsewhere today, Labour's giveaway. Parents on benefits could get thousands of pounds if their children become apprentices. But what about the working families paying the taxes?
We'll commit, in my time in office, to get the number of young people who are not in education, employment or training down.
And a continent in flames. Hundreds of thousands flee Spain and France as record-breaking wildfires continue to savage the region.
They're said to be the worst in France since World War II.
And an army of local volunteers have joined firefighters to fight.
A question for you this morning. Should boys and girls always be educated together, or does single-sex education still have a place in modern Britain? We're going to be debating that later on this morning.
And elsewhere, is the country facing an HMO takeover? Residents say their quiet neighbourhood is changing beyond recognition as more family homes become rentals. Is this happening where you live too?
Areas like this can end up like HMO Britain. It's not fair.
Britain's first halal-only student accommodation has sparked outrage. So we're asking this morning, should universities encourage faith-based living?
FIFA President Gianni Infantino's plan to sell off stakes in the World Cup has been described as the privatisation of sport's premier competition. UEFA say football is not FIFA's to sell, while Prime Minister Andy Burnham has also weighed in with criticism. Join me for more later this hour.
A real north-south split today, fresher, cloudier, wetter across northern parts, but towards the south and southeast, while here it's going to be hot and sunny. Stick around to find out more.
Good morning, it's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast. Well, the Prime Minister says he wants to put politics aside to fix Britain's broken social care system, with plans for a new tax, perhaps, on workers now being considered to help pay for it.
But while the Conservatives and the Lib Dems have been invited to Downing Street for these crisis talks, Nigel Farage and Reform UK, well, their invite seems to have been lost in the post.
It does, doesn't it? Elsewhere, it's been revealed that parents on benefits will be given £4,500 a year if their children become apprentices.
Yes, ministers said the new bursaries were part of plans to create 50,000 new apprenticeships and stop school leavers falling into a life on benefits.
But it is proof that the government is once again forgetting about you, the working people.
Well, with us in the studio again is Duncan Boggs, the political commentator. Good to see you again, Duncan.
Hello.
Where shall we begin? Let's start with this new tax, shall we, being mooted in order to fund social care. Do you think that the people of Great Britain could cope with another tax?
I think it depends on how it's sold to them. The one thing that our new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, has, which Sir Keir Starmer didn't have, is a set of communication skills. And I will go so far as to say if he has to sell this idea to the British electorate and the public that you need to pay something to fund social care in the future, he'll probably make a good fist of it. And also, he's got some personal involvement here. He's talked about his dad having dementia as well. That makes him, for some people, quite relatable. But this is the thing. We don't know what's going to be said later on today. We know that Reform UK have talked about some kind of social care levy being no more than a death tax. We know in the past that Burnham has talked about scrapping inheritance tax and actually just having a 10% levy placed on everyone's estates when they die. That goes into funding social care. That would hit people who you might class as lower to middle class disproportionately, and some people would say, well, that is completely unfair. And I have sympathy with that view, and I think a lot of people have sympathy with the view, which is over the decades, generations have paid their national insurance, and to use, I suppose, a phrase, they expect the state to take care of them later in life. That is not happening. We have a crisis. We need a solution, and it's difficult to see what that solution is. If Burnham can persuade people they need to pay a little bit more, then that's probably a good thing, but it needs to be fair right across the board.
Indeed it does. Can we talk about Zach Polanski for a second? Because he's refused to apologise to Nigel Farage, reposting a photo of a man wearing a T-shirt with an image of a guillotine and the slogan including, "We're only making plans for Nigel." Well, here's a clip.
But on behalf of you, your party said last night, once this image was brought to Zach's attention, he immediately unshared the post. He unequivocally does not support this type of dangerous message. You're accepting it was dangerous, and yet you won't apologise.
I accept it's a dangerous message that I shared inadvertently, and I've corrected that immediately.
But you won't apologise for sharing that dangerous message?
Well, as I said, again, if Nigel Farage wants to apologise for all the times that he's put other people in danger, then I'll be happy to make an apology.
Right. So, OK.
Duncan, what do you make of that?
I think it's embarrassing. I think increasingly Zach Polanski's becoming a liability for his political party. So when he became leader, the membership went up. They went up in the polls, which is fine. I'm old enough to remember when the Green Party really cared about environmentalism.
Yes.
When they had their Green MP, Caroline Lucas, for Brighton Pavilion. She once got arrested for protesting against drilling somewhere in Sussex or whatever. You know, pretty sound Green behaviour. Now we appear to have a Green Party leader who spends his time on social media sharing stuff that is remarkably unpalatable. In these politically heightened times where we know political violence is on the increase, various MPs right across the political spectrum have talked about death threats and rape threats, all really unpleasant, unpalatable, vile stuff. And here we have a political leader of a party who seems unable to exercise caution or even dignity when using social media and shares stuff and then goes, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You know, so he's deleted this post on Instagram. He's got 700,000 followers, a man in a T-shirt. We're only making plans for Nigel and a picture of a guillotine. Nigel Farage and Reform UK have complained to the police about this. We don't know what the police are doing about it, but this is not the kind of behaviour you expect from a political leader. And what is interesting about that clip that you've just shown, and GB News viewers and listeners have seen and heard, is he won't apologise because there's something on the left of the political spectrum where people, they can't apologise to anyone who's perceived on the right, including Nigel Farage. They see it as a sign of weakness.
Duncan, this is utterly astounding. I mean, I think Victoria Derbyshire did a very good job of grilling him on this.
Yeah.
It is astounding to me that he acknowledges it's dangerous. He acknowledges that
it was a mistake.
It was a mistake. Yeah, acknowledges it was a mistake to do. Yeah. But on top of that as well, this is a guy who wanted a comedian arrested for an offensive joke. He was cheering an arrest on, and this is the problem the left have caught themselves in. Many of us warned that these laws that can be weaponised against them. I don't think anyone, by the way, should be arrested for social media posts. I maintain that. However, the law must be applied equally and fairly and appropriately to everybody. He is still refusing to apologise.
Yeah, well, the double standards are off the scale, aren't they? And the problem is you have people on the left of the political spectrum who they want to make the decision about what is right, what is wrong, what is deemed offensive and what is not offensive. And you're absolutely right, Alex. If you go down the route of going, well, actually, that's OK, but that's not OK, you end up with another example of two-tier Britain.
Yep. Yeah, you certainly do.
Duncan, just before we let you go this hour, we've been talking about getting a grip on the welfare bill, but in the same breath, we're talking about extra benefits being now handed to parents of apprentices. Tell us more.
Yeah, this is essentially £4,500 that will go to parents of children who are not working. This is a bigger issue. This is about the almost 1 million NEETs we have in this country. That's people not in employment, education or training. It's about getting people into work, and Andy Burnham has come up with this scheme where if you're on benefits, in order so you don't lose out, you can get a bursary of £4,500. You can look at the headline and think, well, actually he's trying to do something good and get people back into working. You dig a little bit deeper and you go, well, hang on a second, what about the hundreds of thousands of people in this country who are not on benefits, who don't get anything from the government? They will see this as an example, yet another example of two-tier Britain.
Yeah, certainly will do. Again, there's just so much two-tierism.
Yep.
It's become a defining ideology of our times, hasn't it, Duncan? Thank you so much. We'll see you again very shortly. Thank you very much,
Thanks, Duncan.
Well, in other news, firefighters are continuing to battle major wildfires in France and Spain.
Yes, around 360,000 people have been evacuated across the two countries, with the blaze in Spain described as the largest wildfire ever recorded in the country.
Meanwhile, the wildfire just outside Bordeaux in France has burned through an area 4 times the size of Paris.
Well, GB News' national reporter Will Godley has this report.
It's a race to stop the fires. They're said to be the worst in France since World War II. And an army of local volunteers have joined firefighters to fight these flames.
We need to help firemen. So it's very important for us.
An area bigger than the Isle of Wight has already been destroyed in this fire, now entering its second week. Well, much of the flames have subsided in the fire nearest Bordeaux, but still incredibly hot, with temperatures rising. The worry is that those flames could return. More than 250,000 people have been evacuated from the region, 10,000 of them staying here. British expats are keen to help. Emma and Leah live in Bordeaux and are donating clothes to those in need after many of their friends were forced to flee.
You just think these poor people, that whether they're on holiday or whether they're leaving their homes just like that overnight and they've got nothing. Many of our friends already been evacuated. It's just that worry.
They're taking no chances and now heading east away from the fires with their friend Kate, who's joined them on holiday from the UK.
It has changed our plans because our plans originally were to go to that lovely area and I was really looking forward to that. So obviously it's a different holiday we're having now.
As they escape the fires, on the front line, firefighters remain, fighting the flames, now just 9 miles away from Bordeaux. Will Godley, GB News, Southwest France.
And joining us now is travel correspondent at The Telegraph, Simon Calder. Simon, thanks for joining us again this morning. This is not abating, is it, this wildfire? And on top of that, we've got another heat wave on the way. What's the advice for people who are thinking about travelling or may even have a trip booked to somewhere like Bordeaux?
Well, exactly. And I've just been hearing the latest from Météo France, the French weather service. They say that locally temperatures in that area are going to hit 42 today, so well over 100 in old money in Fahrenheit. Actually, the picture is also looking quite tricky over towards the east and south centre of France as well. They are predicting temperatures again 39, 40 Celsius, again over 100 Fahrenheit, and that continues. We even, can you believe, had a plane diverted overnight, an EasyJet flight from Malaga to Luton, full of British holidaymakers, actually touched down at Bordeaux because of, unfortunately, a passenger welfare issue. They stayed on the ground for about an hour and then flew safely to Luton. So even people who weren't expecting to be there have gone there. But if you have got a holiday booked, it's really important to note that Sophie Brocard, who is the prefect of the Gironde department, has said, please stay away. And I've finally heard from Airbnb, who have said, look, we have major disruption event policy on, which basically means, and I've been contacted by a number of GB News viewers about this, people who booked Airbnbs will now be able to cancel without penalty if they do not wish to go to that specific area. However, we are looking at a place where thousands upon thousands of British visitors would normally be. Yes, they can generally switch away to other locations in France, but be warned, this is, of course, a very popular location with lots of French holidaymakers as well, and they are looking for alternatives. So at the same time as the firefighters are doing great work in the Gironde department, the pressure on other parts of France is growing.
And so difficult as well, isn't it, Simon, for those businesses, perhaps those little Airbnbs, those hostels that rely on tourism in these areas. And now we're going to see those tourists staying well away.
Yes, and of course it's affecting places which, if you like, are unaffected, because people are seeing these appalling, apocalyptic scenes and thinking, well, I'm not going anywhere near that. And as a result, the tourism throughout the kind of French southern Atlantic coast is very much down, and in years to come it will be quite possible that people will remember these and stay away from those locations. And in general, I think there will be a move because we're seeing hot temperatures right across southern Europe. You've been reporting on Spain as well, that people will think, actually, it's the middle of summer, I'm going to stay further north.
Simon,
exactly as we've been. Yeah.
Very briefly, I just want to ask you, how close are we to evacuation status for places like Bordeaux?
I think the situation has stabilised. Yes, the mayor of Bordeaux has said that they are ready for all possibilities. But in that report, we heard that the flames kind of stopped 9 miles, 15 kilometres from Bordeaux. That's actually been the case since Monday. Okay. It's appalling, of course, the devastation to communities that we've seen, but they are fairly lightly populated areas. Were you to get into Bordeaux with a population of over 250,000 people, that would be very serious indeed.
OK, travel correspondent at The Telegraph and friend of the programme, Simon Calder, thank you very much. It's always good to see you.
Thanks, Simon. All right, moving on then. Residents in an area of Nottingham have been voicing their concerns over the number of HMOs being developed in their area.
Yes, locals are concerned about safety, parking and losing family housing. Our national reporter Jack Carson has the story.
Areas like this can end up like HMO Britain. It's not fair.
It's a much talked about problem, but for this area of Nottingham, it's a reality. In the last 12 months, countless houses of multiple occupancy have been developed in Netherfield because development rights allow houses to become small HMOs without planning permission. It's meant this area has become a hotspot, with accommodation for 6 or 7 people being built in a community full of families.
As you can see, that they piled all the rubble up outside, and it's unimaginable how much rubble there is that's come out of one house.
Hines and Marilyn Haverkamp have lived on Chandos Street for 52 years, but an HMO being built next door has damaged their property and left them fearful in their own home.
The dust and the damage they're causing, we've got cracked ceilings everywhere.
We've got water all at the bottom of the stairs, water on the ceiling in the back kitchen. I suffer with my lungs. I've had to have 2 emergency helps. The dust, it was unbelievable.
Now we're concerned about the community. It's changed so much. It's unrecognisable.
How does it make you feel?
Really sad. I'm frightened.
Residents have lived on the street for an average of 26 years, with the community made up of multiple generations. Whether it's concerns about safety, parking or bins, there's anger at what's happening.
Where they're taking all these houses away, families could actually be in them instead of single people paying a rent which is extortionate.
Surely there's got to be something where you can only have so many in a certain distance. There's 3 there. Surely that can't be right.
For me, it's ruining our community. That yes, there's a need for housing, but there is not a need in 100 yards for 6 HMOs.
When one resident contacted the leader of Gedling Borough Council, voicing their concerns, Councillor John Clark blamed clamour in the media and politicians promoting fear. The local council is consulting on an Article 4 direction, which would require planning permission for an HMO development, but enforcement will only come 12 months after it's issued. Local independent councillor Russell Whiting says he's frustrated at the lack of power to stop them now.
And the fact that it can happen with no oversight from the council, with no say from residents, without even councillors like myself being able to have a say in most cases, is incredibly frustrating because there's no accountability and there's no democratic oversight of these things.
A Gedling Borough Council spokesperson told GB News the council is monitoring the number of HMOs in individual wards across the borough. National planning guidance sets out that the use of Article 4 directions to remove national permitted development rights should be limited to situations where a direction is necessary to protect local amenity or the well-being of the area and apply to the smallest geographical area possible. The developments here keep coming, but residents are determined to fight on for their community. Jack Carson, GB News, Netherfield.
So difficult for that community, isn't it? Pixie's just been in touch saying, oh, I really feel for that couple that Jack has just interviewed. How absolutely awful for them and the whole community. And then she goes on to say, our local town also unrecognisable.
I do think about areas like where I live, where there's a lot of big houses, elderly people around, and think, are they all going to get turned into flats? Because that will completely change the local area.
Yeah, it will.
It really, really will.
Change the community and the feel of the place.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that's coming where I live now, actually. So this concerns me too. All right, look, shall we get a little check on the weather with Alex?
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There's a bit more rain to come across northern parts today, whilst further south the dry and hot weather continues with temperatures in the southeast higher than yesterday. Let's first though talk about the rain across northern areas. A band of rain, not especially heavy this morning, but could pep up into something but more persistent, running across Northern Ireland into central parts of Scotland. And there are a few outbreaks of rain across other northern areas too, and here it's quite cloudy. More sunshine there across central southern parts of England in particular, and in the southeast, like I said, markedly hotter than yesterday. Highs of around 35 Celsius. Could be the 7th day this year where somewhere in the UK exceeds 35. Into the evening, and it's generally dry across northern parts of Scotland. A few outbreaks of rain here and there, maybe even some glimmers of sunshine, but generally quite cloudy. Wetter across central and eastern areas. A band of rain which could be a bit heavy at times continues through the evening and the start of the night. Northern Ireland will see most of the rain having cleared through, so a drier end to the day here. And across the bulk of England and Wales, it's going to be a fine end to the day as well. The clearer skies towards the southeast. A lot of the rain across Scotland will clear away as we go overnight, but there is some further rain set to come in from the west through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Outbreaks of rain mainly across western parts of Scotland, a bit further south as well. Fresher air in the north means temperatures here could drop to single figures in some prone spots, but further south it's another warm night to come. Temperatures holding up in mid to high teens Celsius. More showery rain across northern parts in particular through tomorrow. Some of this turning heavy, even thundery, especially across northern parts of Scotland through the day. Watch out for some higher rainfall totals building up here. Further south, apart from a few showers perhaps around some southern coastal parts, it is going to be dry, but not as hot as it has been today. Temperatures peaking around 28 Celsius.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
All right, still to come. Britain's first halal-only student accommodation has sparked outrage. So should universities encourage faith-based living?
Yes, we're going to be talking about that. But first, should boys and girls always be educated together? Or does single-sex education still have a place in modern Britain? We're talking about that next.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back. Now, does single-sex education still have a place in modern Britain?
Well, a new study suggests private girls' schools could disappear within 50 years, with falling pupil numbers and changing parental preferences, driving many to go close or co-ed indeed.
So, should girls be taught without boys, or is co-education the better model for today's modern world?
Did you were an all-girls, weren't you?
I went to an all-girls school and I loved school.
Yeah,
I
want
loved
to say...
there being no boys and no distractions and no disruptions.
Yeah.
I think it's better for girls to be with girls. But I think it's better for boys to also be with girls.
Yeah, but that's the problem, isn't it?
'Cause they're a calming
Can't really win.
influence.
I was going to say, if you put all the boys in a row, I think it'd be a disaster.
Anarchy.
It's kind of like my maths class was just all boys. It was just absolute anarchy. It genuinely was. We had like 3 or 4 different substitute teachers all walk out in tears.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you were little terrors.
It was bad.
Oh,
yeah,
dear.
it was really bad.
Well, should we ask some experts what they think?
We should actually. Who have we
Head
got?
teacher at LBS Ascot, Christine Cuniff, and Executive Head Teacher of the Wootton Academy Trust, Mark Lehane. Very good morning to you both. Christine, let's start with you. Do you think that girls should be taught without boys?
Interesting, because I oversee 2 schools. One is co-ed and the other is actually single sex in the middle years. And I see the benefit of both, and I think it's down to parental choice. I do have an opinion. I actually do believe that co-ed has the advantage here, 100%. I went to a girls' school for 2 years. It ended in tears, probably for the school, not me. And then I went to a co-ed school and had very successful education from then on. So I've got personal preferences as well. You know, my experience wasn't too good, but I see it's about parental choice. It suits some. It might be about the parents at the end of the day, what they want for their children. But I think they will die for a number of reasons, and that's not because they're not good. They'll die probably for economic reasons.
Right, interesting. Because, Mark, look, I went to co-ed, so I know exactly what it's like. Boys and girls, absolutely fine. I think it actually in some ways sort of prepares you for a working life. I do hear of the odd case where there's been a lad gone to an all-boys school, or a girl go to all-girls school. He finds it really hard then when they go to college or university because they are thrown together with that mix, and all of a sudden it becomes a very different environment for them. What do you think?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. Culture's the key thing here, isn't it? Culture's what determines how great a school is, and the culture will determine whether you put boys and girls together and whether that works really well or whether you need to separate them out. So I take a slightly different view. I think if you look at state schools, in particular, if you look at the performance of state schools, at secondary level, there are loads and loads and loads of single-sex schools in the top performing state schools. And it's really interesting to explore why. On average, girls do better in single-sex girls' schools than they do if they're in co-ed schools. There's no difference for boys, so I think it reinforces what you guys have already said. Girls do better off without boys. Boys kind of need girls to do really, really well, but it's a very, very small difference. Like Christine said, the key thing is they're really popular with parents. Wherever there is a choice of single-sex or co-ed schools in small towns, you tend to find the single-sex schools for girls is particularly oversubscribed, and parents will have lots of different reasons for that. I myself went to a co-ed school. I've got 4 daughters. There are no single-sex schools in Bedford where I'm coming to you from today, but I'm pretty sure if there were single-sex schools available, they would be very popular.
So, Mark, based on what you've just said, why do you think, then, we've got this study which found that private girls' schools could face extinction within 50 years? Do you agree with Christine that you think that's for economic reasons?
It's really hard to say, isn't it? We know there's a relatively small number of schools we're looking at there, and who knows what's going to happen. We know we've just had VAT on fees for private schools. That's having a huge impact on that sector. Whether that is disproportionately affecting single-sex schools because they tend to be smaller, and we know that smaller private schools are most being affected by the VAT thing. Let's see. What I know is that people that tend to pick single-sex schools do it for really powerful reasons, and so let's see what pans out over the next 10, 15 years.
And Christine, I guess the question to you then is that what is it do you think that may be better about those single-sex schools? Is it the environment? Is it the interaction between, I don't know, girls in just one classroom? Is it the ability to put rules that are more appropriate for single-sex schools? Because, you know, you can be a little bit more targeted towards women or boys. Are those the sorts of benefits of having a single-sex school?
No, I don't agree. I mean, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I probably might have agreed with that. But there's very little research now to actually say that there is a benefit of single-sex schools. Where we used to say that boys learn differently to girls, that's going out the window now, as is, you know, the attainment of these children as well. I think it's more about the environment you're in, because when you look at some of these schools, whether they're single-sex or co-ed, is probably the area of parental attitudes, engagement, and how well the school's led. Because if you've got a well-led school, it should work whether it's single-sex or it's co-ed. And the other thing is, I think we'll see a fall in some of the state single-sex schools. There's a borough right next door to me here, where if the population continues to drop, they'll have to become co-ed to survive.
OK, it's been a really good discussion with both of you this morning. Thank you very much for joining us, Mark and Christine. Thank you very much indeed. Got you talking this morning. Just seen one. Let me see if I can find it again now. Oh, Sue. Says she went to an all-girls school, couldn't wait to get out at 4 p.m. to meet the boys at the school gates. Very good. Rosie said boys learn differently to girls and vice versa, so I think there is something to say for single-sex education.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've never experienced it myself ever, so I don't really have anything to judge it by, but there we go. There we go. All right, you lot, let us know what you think on gbnews.com/your say. Still to come, though, Aidan?
Yes, Zinedine Zidane returns to football after a 4-year break to take over as the manager of France. Join me for that and much more after the break.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M23 southbound between junctions 8 and 9 in Reigate has an incident. The M3 westbound between junctions 2 and 3 in Thorpe is obstructed. The A428 is closed after the A1 near St Neots. In Scotland, the A83 is restricted both ways at Loughnell Street in Loch Gilphead due to emergency roadworks until the end of 2026. Across Wales, the A40 from Pensarn West to Abergwili is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Exeter, St David's and Paignton. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back. It's sports time. Aidan's here with us. Morning to you, Aidan.
Good morning.
Can we start with this cricket video that's gone viral?
Yeah, it certainly has, Ellie. Now, just for context, it's amateur sport, and this is the North Yorkshire and South Durham Cricket League. You've heard of that one, right?
No.
He's all across it.
Yeah, it's tops for me.
Yeah, good. Look, it's Saltburn winning against Norton, and an investigation is underway.
Oh, this is the cheating. This is the cheating scandal. Yes,
well, we
I've
don't
seen
know.
the video.
It's an investigation.
Okay, yeah. Alleged.
Alleged cheating.
Alleged cheating. Now, what this guy's doing, he's a fielder, right? And he's tricking the umpire into thinking that there's a click on the bat when the ball is being delivered. We can see the video now. It'll make it a bit more. It'll bring sense. Here we go. Now, the guy is just standing behind the wicket there. He's waiting for the ball to be delivered. I want to be quiet so you can hear the click. But when the ball's delivered, he's replicating the click to make it sound as if he's replicating the ball hitting the bat.
Right.
So the umpire's thinking the ball's been hit because he's heard a sound. The bat's hit the ball because the...
And he's doing it with his hands?
Yes.
Yeah, that's very...
So he's tricking him into...
Yes.
The umpire into thinking...
It's a connection.
He's out. And there's a connection, yeah, exactly. Now, as far as Housery goes, I think it's absolutely outstanding.
Absolutely.
I really do. To just assume that because these guys are looking for a bit of one-upmanship, gamesmanship, kidology, or whatever you want to call it, just because it's an amateur game doesn't mean they don't want to win.
No, sure.
Of course they want to win.
Sure.
Of course they want to win. I mean, the worst example I ever saw was in rugby about 15 years ago when it was, to be fair, that was in a Premiership match, but there was a blood injury. Do you remember that? It was this guy feigned an injury to get a timeout by faking a blood injury, but he was just carrying a blood capsule in his gum where you put some schnuz or something like that, and then he was seen to wink at the physio who'd arranged it for him. So that was professional sport, exactly. But just because it's amateur sport, to me, it's down to the umpire to spot this stuff. Jacob Rees-Mogg made the point last night on his show. He said, well, that's all very well, but in professional sport, you get the benefit of technology. So this wouldn't be allowed to happen.
Yes.
On the village greens, you don't get that. So it should be incumbent on the players to just be a little bit more honest and say, and well, just not click. Just not click.
Well, also, it's just unsportsmanlike, isn't it? You want to play to win and win honestly.
Look, I was playing Subbuteo last night at a club that I regularly go to, and I'll be honest, I claimed a corner, and it wasn't a corner. I got the corner, I scored from it. I'll be honest, I'm straight up, full disclosure.
Terrible, Aidan. Absolute. You know what?
I don't have a video of it. I don't have a video of it, but look, it's amateur cricket. An investigation, I suspect that this might be kicked into the long grass going forward, but it's a great bit of footage. And very imaginative. Yeah. I'd have to say, feigning a click. You have to get the timing exactly right.
And that click, I've seen that click. That's a very unique click to be able to. You have to learn that special click with.
You'd have to be working overtime at home, putting hours in the evening, wouldn't you? Yeah. Getting it quite right.
Yeah.
I can't even replicate it myself.
No. It's a proper. It's not even just like a hand click. It's a proper.
I know.
Anyway,
amazing.
There we go.
Can we talk about Zinedine Zidane?
Yes, let's quickly mention
He's
that.
back in football, 4 years out of the game since he was coaching at Real Madrid. He's back, this time in charge of the France national team. Of course, he won the World Cup in 1998. His last act with the French national team was headbutting Marco Materazzi in the chest in the 2006 World Cup final, which I would argue cost the tournament for his country. It obviously sounds like there's some unfinished business. His job will be to unify the team somewhat because they look very good in the World Cup. But behind the scenes, apparently there was a bit of chirping from here and there from all those star names. They should have gone on to win it, really. I think they're the best team in the tournament. But good to have him back in football. A stellar name, a brilliant footballer, as you will remember. Probably got overshadowed because so soon after him came Messi and Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, and Ronaldinho just before that. So, but brilliant to have a stellar name back in the sport, just like him. We'll see how he goes. It's going to be a challenge for England, taking on a France side managed by him, I would argue.
Certainly does. All right, Aidan, thank you very much. And we've Freddie here has just said, as the old saying goes, that's just not cricket.
It's not cricket.
It's not cricket.
But sometimes you can have a different variation of cricket, and I quite like that one.
like a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Like a bit of fun here and there.
Good on him.
Aidan, thanks very much, mate. We'll see you again very shortly. Still to come.
Zach Polanski has refused to apologise to Nigel Farage after sharing an image of a T-shirt depicting Nigel Farage alongside a guillotine. Should he apologise? We're going to be talking about that and much more in the papers with Suzanne Evans and David Wooding.
But first, here's the forecast for our top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
The heat wave that's leading to some exceptional temperatures and wildfires across parts of France and Spain, Portugal at the moment, that is continuing, but we're seeing the peak of the heat across France today, and then some of that hot air is pushing further eastwards. For Spain, Portugal, however, the hot weather continues into tomorrow. Further east and for Italy, even towards parts of Greece, temperatures in the high 30s, low 40s, with plenty of sunshine to come as we head into the weekend. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Let's talk now to showbiz journalist Nelson Aspen and former US House Advisor Lee Cohen about this conversation. Good evening, gentlemen. Nelson, let me start with you. What has Oprah been criticised for here? Because a lot of people have taken a shot at her watching this interaction.
That's right. Oprah is worth well over $3 billion. She does not need to present a retrospective of her greatest moments, but she is obviously desperate to stay relevant. And in this 1.5 hour special, the Harry and Meghan interview comes in at about 15 minutes. And it was obvious that she needs to backpedal. It is obvious that it was the greatest softball display of favoritism in broadcast history, almost.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Temperatures are set to soar again next week as heat health alerts remain in place across large parts of England. So my favourite meteorologist to talk to ever in life is John Ketley. John, good to see you. Looking very suntanned and gorgeous, it has to be said, in matching pink. John, we've got another heat wave on the way.
Surprise, surprise.
Yay, it's summer.
Yeah, it seems to have been a very prolonged summer this year, didn't it? Obviously, it started early. We started with that very hot weather in May, which is unusual. And then we had further hot weather during June and again in July as well. So it seems a little bit different this year. It's been going on for so long. It's almost as if we've been really, the tentacles of Europe have been extending across the UK, and we've turned into a continental regime, really.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's just a fact of life. You know, I'm of the generation, my grandfathers and great uncles all fought in World War II, but my children, you know, that's not a memory for them. They never met anyone who was in the Holocaust, and we have short memories. We're the TikTok generation. We have, you know, 5 seconds worth of attention we put on anything. So I think it's a good step. UNESCO has had some scandals in the past, or at least they've chosen to recognize things that perhaps I don't think are all that significant. But the D-Day beaches I visited myself a few years back, they're very well preserved, by the way, so I'm not sure how much this adds in terms of resources or what it can really do to increase young people's knowledge of history, but it can't be a bad thing, can it?
I mean, it's an amazing story all around, and it's a story that deserves to be told over and over and over again.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. It's 7:43. We're going through the papers this morning in the company of David Wooding and Suzanne Evans. Morning, you two.
Morning.
Suzanne, can we talk about Zach Polanski, please?
We can talk about backpack Zach Polanski. Yeah, I think we all know the story now, how he, on Instagram, reposted a horrible image. We're only making plans for Nigel, above a man wearing a T-shirt with a guillotine on it. Absolutely awful. I don't think he's fit to be party leader. I really don't. I think it's dreadful. He was on BBC Newsnight last night. He refused to apologise. He admitted that the post was dangerous, but he wouldn't apologise. 7 times he had the opportunity to apologise. He would not say sorry to Nigel Farage, which I think is pretty shameful. You know, and I think there is in politics, there's this thing, never apologise, never explain, and it's drummed into politicians and it makes them, I think, completely inhuman. They really need to apologise. He should damn well apologise. That's the bottom line here. But I think also that Reform has probably overreacted a bit. I noticed that Reform Chairman Zia Youssef was tweeting yesterday, if Zach Polanski's not in police custody by this time tomorrow, the police will have declared open season on members of Parliament. I'm sorry, I think that's inflammatory and very OTT. But Polanski is wrong. I don't know, maybe the Green Party will take this opportunity to get rid of him because he's made mistake after mistake after mistake.
Well, he is very popular, though, inside the Green Party, isn't he? He did win this massive mandate inside the Green Party to govern it, and his party's done well. They even won a by-election, which I don't think they would have won, perhaps in any other circumstance, without him being leader. And this is the thing, isn't it, David? Politics now is so divisive that even in moments where we should come together and condemn, even if you have made a mistake, you should be able to be man enough, or at least big enough as a party leader to go, actually, we don't accept this in British politics. I made a mistake. I'm going to apologise, even if it is Nigel Farage. I'm apologising.
Yeah, and that, you hit the nail on the head there, Alex, because it is Nigel Farage that he cannot bring himself to apologise. I mean, he's got more than 500,000 followers. I think it's 700,000 followers on Twitter. So that was a big tweet that lots of people have seen. And Nigel Farage, love him or loathe him, he gets about has about 1,500 death threats already. That's 300 a month or 10 a day. And Widdicombe has just been murdered in an attack which was at first was made to look like a burglary that had gone wrong. And it's quite right that he's held to account. I think the mask has slipped now because originally he was very popular because he was saying things which appealed to younger people and maybe to those on the hard left, and he took a lot of those people, the Corbynista types from the Labour Party, and helped to promote the Greens up the polls. But now, of course, people are seeing through it, and I think they'll have to remove him at some stage. He looks as though he's gone far too far now.
David, let's have a look at something different, shall we, in the Express this morning. Kemi Badenoch, her suggestion on how to solve the prison's overcrowding crisis.
Yes, well, she thinks, first of all, we should rent some prison cells as well. I don't know where they are. Do you have a spare room in your house that we can lock someone up?
Oh, there's Downing Street free one day a week, isn't there, at the moment? You've got Downing Street in the north. We could maybe rent some of those rooms out.
Absolutely. And she also wants to remove a good policy, removing the foreign prisoners who are in our jails. But why can't we do that? The European Convention on Human Rights, and also, of course, some countries don't want to take them back. But yes, it's a good idea to look at who's let out. What she's saying as well is that shoplifters, dangerous drivers, and people who are not convicted of violent or sexual offences should be the first to be let out. I sort of agree with that. Violent offenders and sexual predators are the ones who should be kept locked up. But you know, some people will have some views on where you draw the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think dangerous drivers are a pretty violent act. Very often you see some... I do a lot of motorway driving to get between my home and GB News. I do several hundred miles a week. And, you see some appalling driving that is murderous. It really is. So I'm not sure about that, to be honest. But I don't know, lots of people I think have lots of ideas about what countries they might like to send violent prisoners to. I heard someone suggest Iran. So I think a lot of people would be quite up for this policy, to be honest, if the prison spaces could be rented. But the human rights lawyers as well would have a field day. So I can't see it actually happening. I think it's something she said. She hasn't really thought it through. Can you just imagine? Unless we get a grip, as David says, of quitting the ECHR and getting a grip on human rights lawyers who use every loophole to make money by keeping these dangerous people in the country, things are never going to change.
Well, you know, this is the thing. Last night I saw a post, just for a bit of balance of this, last night I saw a post by the I don't know which German, it's like an interior department or something like that. They've just deported 32 Afghans back to Afghanistan, and so it begs the question. They've signed up to the ECHR. If they can do that, why can't we? And I think that is the discussion we also need to have: is our interpretation of those laws, and if it is our own interpretation, why on earth we still aren't changing it? But
I think there's also
as
well.
And there's also another element to this story, which is that if we were to deport foreign national back to their home country, we in turn would be expected to bring back British nationals.
And so we should.
Who are serving sentences in other countries.
And so we should, frankly.
And that would be in the thousands as well.
I think we should be always punishing our own, and I think the same for other countries as well. If it's a foreign offender, they should be the ones who have committed a crime here, go back and face punishment at your home bed anyway. So that's a bit more fun.
Oh, let's do something a bit lighter, shall we? Quite literally.
Quite literally, I was going to say, quite literally, you've led this in really well.
Yes.
Feta fatigue. Have you got feta fatigue?
Do you know what?
I can see you like a bit of feta salad.
I do love feta and I do love salads, but I will tell you, I'm struggling to find new things to cook, Suzanne, in this weather.
Well, feta fatigue, people will be wondering what you're talking about, I'm sure. Basically, this is a bit of a PR stunt by Waitrose, who are saying that feta fatigue, Britons are fed up of eating salad in the hot weather, and they're now going back to winter warmers like cottage pie, toad in the hole, spaghetti bolognese and mac and cheese.
They're classic.
Waitrose is saying that basically their sales of cottage pie have gone up 110% in the past 4 weeks. Maybe that's, I don't know whether that's from the beginning of the heat wave or what, but so yeah, do you want a salad or do you want a cottage pie? Who knows what? Interestingly, there's also in the same newspaper, this is reported in the Daily Mail on the same page, Costa Coffee's done a survey about jam or cream first on scones, or is it scones? The endless, constant back into, they reckon they've settled it. They say 71% of people say jam first.
Absolutely ridiculous.
So can we draw a line on that?
Absolutely ridiculous.
People are wrong.
Yeah, I tell you, we just need a referendum and we'll sort this out. You know.
And it's absolutely cream
That's
before
my
jam.
policy platform.
Absolutely.
Right, you two. See you in an hour's time. All right, time now for a great British giveaway: 60 grand in tax-free cash and a £5,000
real gold bar.
Well, sounds great.
Here are all the details that you need.
It's a great British giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash that can make your bank account brilliant. And because it's tax-free, you get to keep every single penny. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. You could give that to your children, your grandchildren, or just invest it for the future. What would you do with it? Just make sure you don't miss your chance to win £60,000 cash and a fine gold bar. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we're going to be speaking to the Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Philp, who was just metres away from a French Navy warship when it opened fire in the English Channel. We're going to be talking to him about that and much more, aren't we?
We are, indeed. We might even talk about that jam before cream, who knows? But first, let's get your weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There's a bit more rain to come across northern parts today, whilst further south the dry and hot weather continues, with temperatures in the southeast higher than yesterday. Let's first though talk about the rain across northern areas. A band of rain, not especially heavy this morning, but could pep up into something but more persistent, running across Northern Ireland into central parts of Scotland. And there are a few outbreaks of rain across other northern areas too, and here it's quite cloudy. More More sunshine though across central southern parts of England in particular, and in the southeast, like I said, markedly hotter than yesterday. Highs of around 35 Celsius. Could be the 7th day this year where somewhere in the UK exceeds 35. Into the evening, and it's generally dry across northern parts of Scotland. A few outbreaks of rain here and there, maybe even some glimmers of sunshine, but generally quite cloudy. Wetter across central and eastern areas. A band of rain which could be a bit heavy at times continues through the evening and the start of the night. Northern Ireland will see most of the rain having cleared through, so a drier end to the day here. And across the bulk of England and Wales, it's going to be a fine end to the day as well. The clearer skies towards the southeast. A lot of the rain across Scotland will clear away as we go overnight, but there is some further rain set to come in from the west through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Outbreaks of rain mainly across western parts of Scotland, a bit further south as well. Fresher air in the north means temperatures here could drop to single figures in some prone spots, but further south it's another warm night to come. Temperatures holding up in mid to high teens Celsius. More showery rain across northern parts in particular through tomorrow. Some of this turning heavy, even thundery, especially across northern parts of Scotland through the day. Watch out for some higher rainfall totals building up here. Further south, apart from a few showers perhaps around some southern coastal parts, it is going to be dry, but not as hot as it has been today. Temperatures peaking around 28 Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. There is a collision on the M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 26 and 25 near Enfield, causing delays. The A11 is closed after the A134 in Thetford. North of the border, the A90 is restricted in both directions at Finnavon due to planned roadworks, with a contraflow system causing delays. Across Wales, the A40 from Pensarn West to Abergwili is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Exeter St David's and Paignton, with East Midlands Railway running a reduced service. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the Great British Giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I think GB News is completely unique in the way that we interact with our viewers.
Our audience aren't afraid to have their say. They want their voices heard now. and they've got a channel where that can happen.
I find more and more as I'm wandering around, people come up to me and they say, "We saw you on television." I say, "Oh yes, on what?" "On GB News." "Hello, are you the famous Sue?"
The whole crew hit me here now. We came to celebrate.
It's our job to be the eyes and ears of the viewers.
They are part of the GB News family, and I'm pleased to say it's a very large family.
And if people go to the time and trouble of listening and watching, then we've got to do a good job for them.
Well, I'm here, right in the epicentre of the protest.
Here we go again. You just tuned in. Where have you been?
It is raucous here tonight.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good morning. The Prime Minister says he wants to put politics aside to fix Britain's broken social care system.
But not everyone's invited to these crisis talks. The Conservatives and Lib Dems are, but Reform UK has seemingly been shut out.
I'm not going to do what Westminster has traditionally done, which is to kick the can down the road on this important issue.
Elsewhere today, parents on benefits could get thousands of pounds if their children become apprentices. But what about the working families who are paying the taxes?
We'll commit in my time in office to get the number of young people who are not in education, employment or training down.
And surprise, surprise, despite mounting criticism, Zach Palansky says he has nothing to apologise for after sharing an image of a T-shirt depicting a guillotine alongside text of Nigel Farage.
And yet you won't apologise because you're blaming Nigel Farage for amplifying it.
I think we also need to talk about a double standard.
No, you keep taking the conversation on.
A continent in flames. Hundreds of thousands of people flee Spain and France as record-breaking wildfires continue to savage the region.
Yeah, those fires now into their second week here, and you speak to the firemen, they call it a war that they're in. And if it's a war, well, this is the front line, only 8 miles from Bordeaux. Flames seen this morning in this forest, firefighters desperately trying to keep them at bay.
Well, we're turning into HMO Britain. Residents say their quiet neighbourhood is changing beyond recognition as more family homes become rentals. Is this happening where you live too?
Areas like this can end up like HMO Britain. It's not fair.
Campus segregation. Britain's first halal-only student accommodation has sparked outrage. So we're asking this morning, should universities encourage faith-based living?
FIFA President Gianni Infantino's plan to sell off stakes in the World Cup has been described as the privatisation of sport's premier competition. UEFA say football is not FIFA's to sell, and Prime Minister Andy Burnham has also weighed in with criticism.
A real north-south split today, fresher, cloudier, wetter across northern parts, but towards the south and southeast, while here it's going to be hot and sunny. Stick around to find out more.
Good morning, it's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast. Lots going on in the world, isn't there? Lots of different policies being mooted, but we have this interesting story today about HMOs. And the reason why I want to talk about them is that I live in an area with lots of big old houses, and I'm seeing more and more of the houses, not purposely built flats, but houses turn into multiple occupancy buildings.
And it totally changes the feel of a place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Totally changes the sense of community in a lot of instances. Oh, well, let's actually cross over to Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp, who we're being told is ready to talk to us. Very good to see you this morning, Mr. Philp. Can we start with, what's happening there behind you?
So I'm on a beach in northern France, just south of Boulogne-sur-Mer, and I've been tracking a group of illegal immigrants, and you can see they're currently walking along the beach behind me towards a boat pickup point to attempt an illegal crossing into the UK. So I'm going to follow this group. I'm going to talk to them in a minute. I haven't spoken to them yet, but I'm about to talk to them and see what they have to say.
Yeah, Chris, this is a regular occurrence now. In the first week of Andy Burnham's premiership, I think it's up 37% compared to Keir Starmer's first week. You've been out yesterday in the Channel. You saw also images of what appeared to be the French assisting them in their crossing.
That's right. The French were there. By the way, there are no French police on this beach whatsoever. No gendarmes that I can see. In this group of probably 20 or 30 illegal migrants, mostly young men. Looks like mainly from sub-Saharan Africa. Yes, yesterday the French were assisting the migrant dinghy by handing out life jackets. This group seems to have got themselves life jackets already. And the French made no attempt to stop the embarkation. There's the footage of we took from our drone yesterday of the French grey vessel handing over life jackets. The French made no attempt to stop the boat at sea or on the beach, even though the Belgians do stop boats at sea very effectively and without any loss of life. So Shabana Mahmoods should not be paying £500 million of our money to the French when they're failing to stop these embarkations. You know, I only arrived here yesterday. I've managed to find this group of illegal immigrants. Here they are. In just a matter of a few hours. There's some more over there as well. So why haven't the French police been able to do that? Andy Burnham's claim yesterday, this problem has been solved, is clearly ridiculous. The reduced numbers are simply down to the weather. The sea in the Channel has been quite choppy so far this year. The only thing protecting our borders is essentially the wave height in the English Channel. It is not Shabana Mahmood's deal. And as you can see from the evidence surrounding me right now, Andy Burnham's claim this problem has been solved is complete nonsense.
Chris, how big is that group behind you? Can you give us an indication of the size of the number of people that are trying to get on this boat?
This group I'm with now is about 40 in total. I've just come from a woodland where there are another 20 people, mainly Eritreans, planning to cross. So it is quite a big group.
And Chris, as well, this will be organised by the illegal migrant gangs, essentially, that are preparing the boats, handing out life jackets and such.
That's right.
How far are these migrants willing to travel to get onto a boat, and how dangerous is this out there?
Well, it is dangerous. A migrant here was stabbed about a week ago in some kind of altercation about a place on a boat. I've just received in the last few minutes a report that someone drowned yesterday attempting the crossing. So these are dangerous crossings. And we should also be clear that these are unnecessary crossings. We're in France now. France is not a war zone. France is a perfectly safe place. Nobody needs to leave France to come to the UK. I mean, we could ask someone. Can you tell me why it is you're planning to get on a small boat later on today and come to the UK?
No, I don't speak English.
You don't speak English. Whereabouts are you from? Whereabouts are you from? Where, sorry? No. Doesn't apparently speak English.
No, interesting. They did seem to understand the question, though, Chris. But there we go.
They did.
Chris, the French guards as well, the ones who at least come across in the water to assist them, are they tracking these migrants? How do they know that they're travelling over to Britain if they're not there on the beach? How on earth are they tracking them in the middle of the Channel?
Well, they shadow them. The French vessel, when the migrant boat embarks, often the French know about it because they've got officers on the beach where the embarkation takes place. But if they haven't, they rapidly spot it at sea, and then the French vessel escorts the migrant dinghy to the median line, to the sea border, where Border Force picks it up and provides a taxi service into Dover, and the migrants then get taken to a hotel. So if the boat which these migrants are heading to is successful later on today, I hope it isn't, I'll certainly be communicating their position to the gendarmerie. But if it is successful, within 24 hours, the people around me could be in a taxpayer-funded hotel, which of course is precisely why they're leaving France in the first place, because no such accommodation is provided by the French government.
Chris, we're doing lots of work there and you're looking at this from lots of different angles. Have you had or have you seen any evidence of these human trafficking gangs actually working? Are they there shepherding these people to these boats, or are you getting a sense that this is being done on WhatsApp?
Well, we saw earlier today the people smugglers kind of scouting out the gendarmerie's positions early in the morning at 5 a.m. In this group, there probably is a people smuggler, at least one, in this group. It's very difficult to know. They're all covering their faces. It's very difficult to know who it is, but almost certainly one of these people is a people smuggler leading this group to the rendezvous point where the embarkation will occur. And in fact, by coincidence, I now recognise where we are. We've now walked so far up this beach. We've now arrived at the point where that footage you showed a bit earlier of yesterday's embarkation that we filmed It happened about 200 metres up the beach. I recognised the green windsurfs over there. So this is the very beach that embarkation took place from yesterday. And obviously this group are planning to rendezvous with a boat to try another embarkation later on this afternoon. And we're going to be tracking that group throughout the day. And I hope the gendarmerie put in an appearance at some point. But right now, there is no sign of them.
Chris, we also hear very often from elements of the political left that these are women and children coming over there. From your at least visceral appearance there, how many are women?
Very, very few. Taking the figures as a whole, I think about 80% of migrants crossing the Channel are young men. And in fact, there is evidence that when there's a kind of big scramble, when the boat turns up, there's a big scramble to get on the boat. And very often it's the women and children, if there are any, who get shoved to one side by the young men.
Chris, how many crossings have you seen attempted, or at least seen people gathering for, in the time that you've spent there in France?
Well, we're getting reports from up and down the coast. I've encountered 2 migrant groups in this locality, but the coast is quite long. And we understand from Dunkirk in the north through to the place we are, which is a place called, it's further south. We think there's been about 7 boats embarking so far today, which would mean several hundred migrants heading in the direction of the United Kingdom, all of whom will end up getting accommodated at taxpayers' expense, none of whom are fleeing war because France is a safe country.
And a final question for you, Mr. Philp, as well. We're paying, hundreds of millions of pounds to protect French beaches to stop illegal migrants coming over. You've spent a lot of time on those beaches. How often are you seeing French security services there?
Well, right now, I can't see any French security at all. I've encountered about 4 or 5 gendarmes in the course of the last 5 hours on my travels, but I've been going to places which we know are the hotspots for migrant embarkations. But more to the point, even where the migrants are encountered by the gendarmerie, they don't take proper action. Shabana Mahmoud is not getting value for money for the £500 million that she is spending. And when Andy Burnham says the problem is fixed, he is completely out of touch. Just look at the images behind me.
Well, Chris Philp, thank you for bringing us those images. I'm sure you're going to stay with that group, and I'm sure you're going to do lots more filming throughout the day. So thank you very much.
And indeed, stay safe as well.
On Twitter throughout the day.
Yeah, do stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe. Our audience wishing you safe travels as well, Chris. Thank you very much. Incredible scenes there. You're seeing that live. Those migrants will be making their way to the United Kingdom. Live here on GB News. That's what we tried to bring you here. And it's great that Chris Philp is out there, at least trying to capture that for us. Should
we get some reaction with Duncan Barks, who's in the studio here with us? Remarkable pictures and remarkable scenes there. We all know this is happening, but it is something else to see it happening live, isn't it?
I think our viewers and listeners this morning will just be incredulous. There is a politician, Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Philp, who's live on the beach. He's able to find a group of people who are about to get on a boat and cross the Channel and get into this country. And yet, as he rightly pointed out, we're spending £500 million. The Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmoud, is writing cheques to the French saying, here's some money, sort it out. Clearly, there is no will to sort it out. Now, no disrespect to Mr. Philp, but if he is able to find where those people are leaving from and the beaches, you'd expect the French authorities to be able to do it as well. So you can only conclude that there's no real will to want to solve the problem. And you can look at it from the French perspective, and I suspect there is an argument, which is, well, actually, if they successfully sail across the Channel, it becomes Britain's problem, not our problem. The other thing, just to mention, yesterday there were reports of some of these boats actually arriving further around the coast, not in Kent, in East Sussex, in Eastbourne. So what we're seeing, I think, is perhaps there is a little bit more heat in some of the hot spots where people are leaving France. What they're doing is they're moving to different parts of the French coast to launch boats and sailing into places like Eastbourne. And that is problematic in terms of, I suppose, safety, because the stretch of water they have to cross to get from the French coast to Eastbourne is bigger from the French coast to, let's say, the Kent coast. So potentially you might see more deaths.
And may I just interject? 70-mile trip this one took the other day, as opposed to 27 miles.
Exactly.
So that was a real test for these migrant smuggling gangs to see whether or not we would still intercept all that way out, and we played ball.
We play ball, and of course the point is there is no deterrent. As Mr. Philp pointed out, you come here, you get put up in a hotel, then eventually might get moved to a property somewhere. We know that one of the things the Conservatives did in their last few months in government, they had the deterrent of the Rwanda policy. One of the first things that Labour did once in government under Keir Starmer, they scrapped the policy. And for those viewers and listeners who aren't too sure, the idea was you come to this country, buy a small boat, you effectively arrive illegally, you get processed somewhere you don't want to be, Rwanda. That's seen as a deterrent. That deterrent no longer exists, and therefore we see the sights that we've just seen.
OK, Duncan Bach, it's been really good to have you in the studio with us this morning. Thank you very much for your company.
Meanwhile, firefighters are continuing to battle major wildfires in, of course, France and Spain.
Well, around 360,000 people have been evacuated across the two countries, with the blaze in Spain described as the largest wildfire ever recorded in the country.
Well, meanwhile, the wildfire just outside Bordeaux in France has burned through an area 4 times the size of Paris.
Well, joining us live now from the south of France is GB News reporter Will Godley. Very good morning to you, Will. How's it looking there this morning?
Well, good morning to both of you. Yeah, this is the outskirts of that burnt-out area. Where we are now is about 8 miles from Bordeaux Airport, and the outskirts of the city that way, and every so often you can hear a plane take off. That's just how close we are. But take a look in the distance, because what you're seeing is smoke filled through the forestry, smoke rising up, and there had been in the last 10 minutes a whole brigade of firemen with their hoses out from the top of their fire engines, battling flames that were had started in this part of this forest here, flames that looked to be 2 or 3 meters high. There was 4 or 5 fire engines battling them. We were told this is as close as we could get to that, because otherwise it wasn't safe for us, and also we potentially would be in the way for them fighting this fire. You can see a farmer's put out his watering equipment as well over this cornfield here to stop the flames attacking his crops. But this really is the closest point the fire is to Bordeaux at the moment, and that's why this bit of land is so important for the firefighters desperately trying to stop the fire getting any closer. We'll just bring the camera round this way, because you might be able to see into the distance. The air just becomes smog, thick smoke that you really can taste in your lungs. Down there is the heart of the fire, down towards Cap Ferret. These roads, there's 2 of them that go down this way, have been dubbed the highways to hell, because the scenes going down there are so destructive. Houses absolutely destroyed, fields after fields of forest absolutely burnt through. And we've seen, as we've been here this last half an hour, fire engines coming out from the heart of this fire to where we are, because here is a filling station. That really is the difficulty for firefighters at the moment, transporting enough water to get these fires under control. So they have to come out from the fire and refill their engines here. There's a fire engine going past now, but behind them on the other side of this road are these tankers. These tankers have travelled down to the coast where there's lakes. They fill up water from these lakes, drive 30 minutes to here, so it's closer to where the fire engines need the water. Right now you might be able to hear these tankers refilling the fire engines. They will then go on to fight these fires again. Steve will just come back here, because this is another fire engine just coming out of the forest here. Whether or not they are happy now that these flames are at bay for the moment, or it's out of water, it's refilling and it will be going back in, we'll have to wait and see, because many of the fields we do see are just left in this sort of smouldering state, because fire engines are needed elsewhere in this massive area of smouldered wilderness and towns, an area bigger than the Isle of Wight. So sometimes these firefighters just get the call to go elsewhere. They're calling it a war. This really is the front line where we are right now.
All right, there, Will Godley reporting live for us just outside Bordeaux, I believe. Thank you so much, Will Godley. Stay safe. I know that we're all reporting there live just from down the road of those big, massive flames engulfing parts of France. Incredible.
Yeah. Stay safe. Well, with us now is a victim of the wildfires, Jez Cartwright. It's really good to see you this morning, Jez. How have you been impacted by these wildfires?
Well, Friday morning, we decided to evacuate before the message came through on our phones to evacuate. We were holidaying there, and we were aware of the fire. You could see the smoke in the air on Wednesday. Thursday, it got progressively worse, and we were getting affected by smoke and ash on the Thursday night for dinner, just dropping on you, and it was getting slightly nervous. You could tell people were slightly anxious and wanted to get out. The boats were beginning to fill up. The ferries were going across to the other side. And Friday, 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke up, checked my phone, and they've been brilliant about telling you where it is and what you need to do. The town up from us was being evacuated, so I knew it was time to go. So jumped in the car and off we went.
Jez, we've seen these shocking scenes. I know I've actually been in Los Angeles when the wildfires consumed the city, essentially, surrounded the city. There was ash everywhere. That it essentially turned into Mars around. I don't think people quite understand. Help people explain the impact it has, even if you're not in the forest area, but the impact it has on people's day-to-day lives there.
Well, we ended up going to some friends just outside Bordeaux, and we took our daughter into Bordeaux just to sort of play some time and kill some time. And the air was thick of smoke. It was pretty horrible. And by the end of the day, your clothes just reek of smoke. But I've got a friend who owns sort of 10 restaurants around the bay. They've all had to close. All their staff's been evacuated, although there's some of them are there actually feeding the firemen and the emergency services. But then it's the knock-on effects. Another friend who owns a number of shops, their staff can't get to work. So these impacts are going to be felt for a long time. And it's so sad. Just where your reporter was right now, I know exactly where he was. And they're very worried about what happens next with the change of winds and the heat that's due there in the next few days. It's fingers crossed time.
Yeah, it's so difficult, isn't it? Jez, we're thinking of you and your family, wishing you well. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on GB News Breakfast. Thank you.
Thanks, Jez.
Bye-bye.
All right, lots of you writing in about what was going on in France there as well, not just the wildfires, but of course the illegal migrant stuff. Many of you wishing Chris to be safe. Stay safe.
Be safe. One of you saying that Chris Philp has gone up in your estimation.
Yes.
You'd like to see a Labour politician out on the beaches.
That's right.
Others making the point, you had 14 years to do this. Why weren't you doing it earlier? Why weren't you doing something to stop the boats then? Keep your views coming in.
All right, still to come. The Prime Minister is calling crisis talks on Britain's broken social care system. But has he invited all of the right people to the table? Well, the Liberal Democrats are going to join us with their verdict. But first...
Britain's first halal-only student accommodation has sparked outrage. We're asking this morning, should universities encourage faith-based living? We're talking about that next.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News Bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dixon weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless, and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow.
Stop.
We can allow.
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Right, get this. Britain's first halal-only student accommodation is set to open in Dundee, offering housing tailored specifically for Muslim students attending the city's universities.
Yes, Rose House will provide 20 rooms for male students only, with a ban on alcohol and residents required to follow halal food rules.
However, the project has drawn criticism, with some claiming it amounting to segregation.
Well, let's speak now to Reform MSP Mark Simpson. Very good morning to you, Mark. What do you make of this?
Good morning. Firstly, I suppose there's a couple of things I just want to get out there first and foremost. Since this story broke, I've heard actually the halls have been faced with threats of violence, intimidation. I think from the off, I want to be quite clear, that is completely unacceptable and is not how we should go about talking about the important issues that come from this. But there are important issues that arise. This issue of integration. It's been specifically marketed to Muslim students. Their website, and I quote this directly, premium student living designed for Muslim students. And I think this goes completely against what university should be. Going to university should be a time of coming together, people mixing. We do not want people living in silos, living amongst their own communities. It should be about integration, in my opinion.
Yes, I certainly agree. I think many people at home will agree, Mark. Is there a case to be made for it, though? Is there a case to be made for different religious groups having their own segregated halls? Should we have Jewish-only halls, Christian-only halls, perhaps?
I mean, we are a Christian country. Christianity has been, the foundation of what built this country. These halls that, that the Christian students have, Jewish students have, these are historic. These have been around for many, many years. What I do not think is acceptable in 2026 is for this new sort of division, this new segregation that we're seeing happen in Dundee.
Do you think we should see a ban on student halls like this?
I do, yes. I think this does absolutely nothing to promote cohesion. I don't think this does anything to promote a coming togetherness and actually, helping people to be mixing and getting along with each other. So, yeah, most certainly, I would be quite in favour of that.
All right, well, look, thank you for joining us this morning. That's Reform MSP Mark Simpson there. Thank you, Mark. We're going to cross over to political commentator Fahima Mohammed to get her perspective. Good morning, Fahima. Thanks for joining us today. I guess the first question to put to you is this. We talk about diversity and inclusion, and the key part of that is inclusion. It's about people of different cultures, different religions, living together, experiencing each other. But what this does is actually segregate people. I don't really feel that has a place in Britain in 2026.
Well, I think the problem here, as you previous guests alluded, that it's actually a problem because it's a Muslim accommodation. And I think this debate shouldn't be about sensational headlines, and it should be about facts. These aren't Muslim-only halls in the legal sense. According to the provider itself, students of any faith can, apply, providing they respect the house rules. And just as people choose alcohol-free accommodation, single-sex accommodation, or faith-based colleges, this is not segregation. It's voluntary accommodation built around a particular lifestyle. And nobody is forced to live there. Nobody is excluded from mainstream university life, and nobody loses access to university, accommodation because this option exists Real segregation is when people are prevented from accessing the same schools, jobs, and public services because of who they are. This is not what's happening here. It's a voluntary application, accommodation with shared house rules according to the provider. And again, we need to understand that this is not segregation. This is private accommodation, and it will go against the Equalities Act. And as you mentioned as well, that there are other faith accommodations with the Christianity, whether it's in Oxford, the Campion Hall, Newman House, Jewish student accommodation. So it's okay for that. Only when it comes to Muslims, then it's a problem. We've got kosher kitchens, Sabbath observation, Jewish community living. We've got loads of different types of accommodation where it's about, friendly to the people, about their lifestyle. Nothing to do with segregation like women's gyms, LGBTQ community centres, Jewish care homes, Christian retirement villages, student halls, aimed at postgraduates. All of these exist. But again, the only issue is here, if it's because it's a Muslim one that's now trying to join in and be exactly the same, because there's slightly a difference in actual living.
OK, Fahima Mohammed, good to get your perspective on things this morning. Thank you very much for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
I would just ban all of that, personally. I would ban any segregation in 2026.
It's just not very British.
I don't care whether you're Jewish, Christian, Muslim, whatever you are. I just don't think you should be segregated from the rest of society because you want to live in a specific way. If you do want to do that, then rent your own property.
Private property.
Don't make specific accommodations, people, because then where does it end?
Yeah.
What if I want specific accommodations, I don't know, where everyone reads the news and discusses the news every morning? I think that's the problem with segregation, is it ends up becoming, we've gone backwards in society.
And it's not the point of university, is it? The whole point of university is mixing with your peers, meeting people from different backgrounds to you, getting to know other people from different backgrounds.
Anything that divides Britain up is a bad idea, in my opinion. But there we go. Spokesperson for Halal Students' Halls says ILM student halls, I think that's correct, ILM student halls is not a religious exclusive residence. We are proud that our halls are open to students of all backgrounds, and this is reflected in our current community. The majority of our current residents are Christian, alongside others of various faiths, and none.
Gender-specific accommodation is a long-established practice across the UK, offered by universities and private providers alike, based on student comfort and preference.
There you have it. All right, look, if you're travelling to work this morning, here's the traffic and travel update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. There is a collision on the M3 westbound at junction 11 in Winchester South. The A1 between junctions 3 and 4 is closed. The A428 after the A1 in St Neots is also closed, along with the A5 after the A453. In Scotland, the M8 eastbound and westbound is restricted between junctions 16 and 18 near Craighall due to bridge repairs, causing delays. Across Wales, the A40 from Pensarn West to Abergwili is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Exeter, St David's and Paignton. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, the Prime Minister is calling crisis talks on Britain's broken social care system. But has he invited the right people to the table?
Well, the Liberal Democrats care spokesperson Alison Bennett will join us with her verdict next. We look forward to speaking to Alison very shortly.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I said so.
surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 8:35. Let's speak now to the Lib Dems Care and Carers spokesperson, Alison Bennett. Very good morning to see you this morning, Miss Bennett. We're hearing the Prime Minister is hosting these crisis talks, talking about reform for social care. He's been very clear, hasn't he, that he thinks that the NHS is going to collapse without urgent reform to social care. So I think all parties can agree that reform needs to happen to social care, but there is a difference in opinion on what exactly needs to take place. So what are your red lines going to be heading into these talks today?
So I think these talks today are just the beginning of what I hope is a series of meetings and conversations that are going to bring forward urgent change in our social care system. There have been, over the years, 22 attempts by politicians to get social care sorted. Those 22 attempts have all failed. It is vital, with an ageing population, that this 23rd attempt works. There are, for example, 4 million unpaid family carers in England alone who are looking after their loved ones and they're not getting the support they need. And so in terms of the Liberal Democrats' red lines, we're really pleased that Andy Burnham has sort of grasped the nettle on this in his second week in office. And we've set out 3 tests. The first thing is that family carers are front and centre. The second is that we make sure there is a universal safety net. So everybody should have access to free personal care. And thirdly, we think nobody should have to pay catastrophic costs. So it's estimated that 1 in 7 of us will have care costs in their lifetime of over £100,000. And we think that should be prevented from happening.
Alison, I think most people can agree with those 3 red lines, actually. They seem quite sensible. What is the burden on the taxpayer, though? Where's the red line for that? Because that is going to be one of the big talking points. We know that Labour backbenchers are willing to rebel when it comes to welfare cuts. We will need to fund this somehow through taxation. Would you support Andy Burnham if he tries to say, well, I'll slash welfare, but I need the Tories and the Lib Dems to back me up, so I've got a majority to make sure we can pass a social care reform?
I don't think we're quite on the page at the moment of knowing how this might be paid for. And there are lots of different options out there. You just have to look at how other countries run their social care and how it's funded to see that. I think what's important is that, each of those options is assessed. The parties come together and look at those. And I'm really interested in where we can all find common ground. The other side of it that is really important is that, so Louise Casey was appointed by the previous Prime Minister to review social care. She has talked in recent months about the need for a national conversation. One thing I would observe is that as a country, we don't really like talking about the need for care because it involves, getting old and frail and ill, or maybe having a loved one with a lifelong disability. It's really uncomfortable territory for us, I think. But that national conversation is really important because we know this is going to affect millions and millions of us at some point in our lives. And so we need to work out where that landing ground is that both the public and politicians can agree on to make sure that people aren't suffering and being let down as they are at the moment.
We're seeing reporting in the Telegraph today that a new tax on income is being mooted by Andy Burnham in order to fund social care. Do you think that the British people can shoulder another tax on top of the already eye-watering tax burden?
So I had a look at that article in the Telegraph, and what it read like to me is that Department for Health and Social Care have presented the new Prime Minister with a series of options, and that's just one of them. I'd be interested in seeing all those options and taking that time to look at them and work out whether they meet those three tests about family carers, about a universal safety net, and about the need for no catastrophic costs, and seeing which one fits best with our red lines.
And one final, very brief question for you, Ms Bennett. The Liberal Democrats have seemed to be polling perhaps one of their lowest single digits in at least one poll. I know it's not completely consistent across the board. Polls do change. Is your message breaking through? Is your message breaking through to the British public at the moment about what you would like to achieve if you were to go to the polls?
So for me, I think what's interesting about the polls, throughout my lifetime, they've been dominated by the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, up in like the 30% or whatever. And now you've got five parties, sometimes within 11 percentage points of each other. I think that makes for a really sort of dynamic sort of electoral landscape, if you like. And so actually there's huge opportunity for the Liberal Democrats to kind of push our messages on things like reforming social care, a real priority of Ed Davey, on sewage, making sure that our waterways are cleaned up and making sure that the cost of living is properly tackled.
OK, Alison Bennett, thank you so much for your time this morning on GB News Breakfast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, look, still to come. Young gang members are reportedly terrorising Britain's towns and cities. Is this a sign of Britain in constant decline? And what can be done to restore national pride?
Well, we're going to go through that and much more in the papers with Suzanne Evans and David Wooding. Morning, you two. Chat to you in just a second.
But first, here's the forecast for our top European destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The heat wave that's leading to some exceptional temperatures and wildfires across parts of France and Spain, Portugal at the moment, that is continuing, but we're seeing the peak of the heat across France today, and then some of that hot air is pushing further eastwards. For Spain, Portugal, however, the hot weather continues into tomorrow. Further east and for Italy, even towards parts of Greece, temperatures in the high 30s, low 40s, with plenty of sunshine to come as we head into the weekend. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
This is really exciting. We've got 1 million people living with dementia in this country, and about 65%, 70% of them have Alzheimer's disease. This is a condition where a protein called amyloid beta builds up in plaques within the brain and interferes with the connection of nerve cells. It's a cruel disease, as I know you're aware. It robs families of the relative that they once loved, the personality that they knew, and it's the leading cause of death in this country. So numbers are only increasing as the ageing population grows. But here we have in phase 3 clinical trials, which is the last stage of trials before a regulatory body approves it for use, which appears to clear some of these plaques within a few weeks. Now that's really exciting.
GB News, the People's Channel. Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
What does this kind of day mean to you, kind of coming and doing this every year?
Well, I feel that I'm doing this for my wife because she used to sell poppies properly, really, and I used to help her for 20 odd years. And I feel like I'm doing it for her, really. But it is nice to think that everybody appreciate what we did for being in the forces.
But tell me about your service, because you got sent out to the Far East, didn't you?
Yes. I just got engaged because I didn't think I was going to get called up, but then I did.
In your jacket here, you've got one medal for national service and one for that Hong Kong medal for that.
To be honest, I was 18 years old and I was very excited about going. It was an adventure to me.
The People's Channel. Britain's newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
Weight loss jabs could help children as young as 6 who are living with obesity. When did we start saying living with obesity? Can we not say obese children? Is that not politically correct? Well, delighted to be joined now by Sarah LeBrock, Director of All About Obesity. Sarah, I think a lot of people will feel slightly uneasy about children getting on these jabs, simply because we sort of expect, I don't know, diets to be managed by parents.
Yeah, I can totally understand why people would think that. But the point we're not talking about just overweight children here. We're talking about children living with obesity. And interestingly, you say, why do we say living with obesity? It's because they're living with a chronic condition.
GB News, the People's Channel.
All right, everybody, let's go through what's making the news with David Wooding and Suzanne Evans this morning. Welcome, you two. Let's start. Excuse me, indeed. It's been a very long week. I need some more
He's
sleep.
exhausted.
I'm very.
Aren't you?
Can't speak at the moment.
Should we start with the gangs?
Let's start with the gangs.
Yes,
Suzanne,
gangs.
violent bally boys terrorising towns and taunting cops with no face, no case.
That's right. This is a proper piece of journalism from The Sun, actually. They've gone out to interview armed youths who are robbing, racing stolen cars and motorbikes, setting fires, and then posting their crimes on TikTok.
Crazy.
And boasting about how many followers they've got. And, of course, presumably, the more they want followers, the more crimes they're committing. And the worst of it is they're all wearing masks. So although the police know who they are, they say it's very difficult to get a case. And, in fact, The Sun spoke to one of the youths. He said, it's no face, no case, innit?
It's true. It's true. We see there were places like
it's terrible.
But that's kind of how it is. David, what do we do about this?
Well, first of all, social media needs to take these cases down. TikTok have removed about 3 million, but there are still many more up there. And the other interesting thing about this is the Sun have gone and found some of the victims. There was one chap in there I was reading who had his Honda stolen. They had to use proper cutters to get it off, and they posted a picture of it up and said, "We've got your bike, na 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 na," like a childish taunt. And he said it was awful seeing my pride and joy nicked, being paraded like a trophy on social media. So they're actually rubbing the noses of their victims in it.
Well, it's awful. The other thing, obviously, is, there's always a debate about should you have to show your face in a public place?
Yes.
And this is going to obviously raise that question again. And I think the answer is yes. You cannot go around masked up and expect to get away with your crimes.
I see it every day on the tube. These lads walking around, they wear face masks.
It's so threatening.
It's so threatening. They're all even despite it being 30 degrees out, they're all wearing hoodies and thick clothes. Balaclavas, masked up. It's really intimidating for people. And they'll just barge through the barriers at the gates of the tube, and then, goodness knows what else. But this sort of stuff has got to stop, and I think the only way we're going to be able to do that is to ban face coverings in public. I think we're going to have to go there. I think we're going to have to get there, because this is becoming ridiculous.
It's their response to CCTV, which is everywhere now.
That's right.
That's
right.
And facial recognition cameras, which are being used to catch it.
Yeah, good point. David, let's talk about happier things, shall we? The Royal Family album is put in trusted hands. This is in the Times today.
Yes, well, the Queen, or the late Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, had a family album. It's the biggest family album you've ever seen. 85,000 pictures in there, all dating back through her reign. Some taken by her, some taken by Philip, and some of them have been taken by professional photographers like Cecil Beaton and people like that. And they're going back through the negatives and the transparencies and indeed the old prints and restoring them because they degrade with the years to try and preserve them. And they've gone through 5,000 of the 85,000 so far. And they're curating them. So I suspect there will be a massive exhibition in a few years' time.
I hope so. Yeah. Because these are the things that come out generations almost later. But that people would never see. I'm sure there's pictures that are taken in the royal family videos today behind the scenes that we will not see in our lifetimes, perhaps, of our existing royal family. But I think it's a great insight to them and actually makes them so much more human to many people.
And I think it's lovely also you've got that extra historical element that they took so many of the photographs themselves, just like any normal family. Yeah. But what really touched me made me laugh about this particular story is they're preserving these photographs by putting them in the freezer.
Ah, there you go.
That's how they're going to preserve them and stop them degrading.
Oh, wow.
So there you go, tip for you. If you've got some old family photographs,
put them in the freezer.
Well, of course, today we take so many pictures because we have a phone with us, and the more pictures of my children and my grandchildren than there were of me, because it was a big deal taking a picture going back. But these pictures of the Queen and Prince Philip will have been so long ago that they will need looking after.
Absolutely right. Let's look at one more. Fruit and nut jobs. 1 in 5 children. This is not me saying this. This is the Star's
headline.
The headline. Thank you. 1 in 5 children thinks fruit and veg is produced in shops, and a third have no idea how bananas grow. That's a new poll. Survey of 6 to 11-year-olds revealed their wacky ideas about food.
Yes, that's right. 20% of kids think veg is made in shops. 17% think broccoli florets are miniature trees, which is not illogical, really, when you think about it. Yeah. But, it's kind of same old. Kids growing up in towns who don't understand how the countryside works. And we were talking in the green room, kids should be made to visit a farm and see what it's like and where their food comes from. But one thing I will say, I don't think this is just a modern phenomena. I remember my mum saying when she had evacuees living in her home during the war when she was a child, that they laughed when they saw a cow and couldn't believe that was where their milk came from.
Wow.
So I'm not really sure this is a modern-day problem. I think it's quite an old problem, but still one that we haven't got a grip of.
Yeah.
It's a
it feeds into a much bigger issue, though. We wonder why we've got a child obesity crisis when there is just this lack of education around nutrition and where food comes from, because we're not seeing it in schools, are we? There's fewer parents teaching their children how to cook at home. There's a severe lack of it in this country.
Absolutely. Well, we spoke earlier about Andy Burnham bringing in vocational education. I think we need to make sure that the children have the basics, including a bit of nutritional education, which all comes into under the general banner of science, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's just stay with the food theme for one more story here in the Express. Not all ultra-processed foods may be bad for us, David.
Yes, we're all being told by the health educators that ultra-processed food, UPF as they call it for short, is bad for us. It seems that it isn't necessarily bad for us. Things such as baked beans, which are ultra-processed, shreddies, that sort of stuff, is not that bad for us. It's got nutritional benefits to it. Well, and it's a very important study, this, because I think they went through 200,000 people in America over 40 years, from 1980 to 2020, and they looked at what they ate and their outcome. Some developed diabetes, some developed heart problems, others died. And they put that against what they were eating, and they found that if you had a broadly nutritional diet, it doesn't matter if you eat some of these ultra-processed foods, as long as you don't just eat them and nothing else.
Yes, a little bit of everything, eh?
I think so, and I think it also proves that it's just use your common sense, really. If you've got any, because if you had any nutritional training, I do appreciate that is a problem. But I think very often public health zealots tell us what we should and shouldn't eat, and then years later they're proved wrong. I remember one particular case when we were all terrified at one point of using a wooden chopping board because they said there was too much bacteria in it, and we must use plastic ones. Turned out the complete opposite was the truth a few years later. So I think I do take public health advice with a bit of a pinch of salt and just try and think, well, is this healthier if it isn't? And if it's a toss-up between an apple or a sugary sweet, it's obvious, isn't it?
I think if we just eat how our grandparents ate, we can't go too badly wrong, can we?
You cook yourself all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I love cooking,
You're brilliant.
But I think thank you, but I think the trick is just keeping it really simple. Meat, veg,
I think that's true.
Can't go too far
And
wrong.
not too much of anything.
Not too much of anything. A little of everything. There you go. Thanks, you two, for your company today.
Yeah, thanks for keeping us company. But now it's time for a great British giveaway. 60 grand tax-free cash and a gold bar worth 5 grand.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like this year. What would you do with that? And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. It's pure gold to own, trade or gift to a loved one and secure their financial future. So make sure you don't miss your chance to bank over £65,000 worth of prizes in our Golden Summer celebration. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we're going to be crossing back live to the south of France, where GB News is witnessing the devastation caused from wildfires there.
All right, but first, let's get your weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There's a bit more rain to come across northern parts today, whilst further south the dry and hot weather continues with temperatures in the southeast higher than yesterday. Let's first though talk about the rain across northern areas. A band of rain, not especially heavy this morning, but could pep up into something but more persistent, running across Northern Ireland into central parts of Scotland. And there are a few outbreaks of rain across other northern areas too, and here it's quite cloudy. More sunshine there across central southern parts of England in particular, and in the southeast, like I said, markedly hotter than yesterday. Highs of around 35 Celsius. Could be the 7th day this year where somewhere in the UK exceeds 35. Into the evening, and it's generally dry across northern parts of Scotland. A few outbreaks of rain here and there, maybe even some glimmers of sunshine, but generally quite cloudy. Wetter across central and eastern areas. A band of rain, which could be a bit heavy at times, continues through the evening and the start of the night. Northern Ireland will see most of the rain having cleared through, so a drier end to the day here. And across the bulk of England and Wales, it's going to be a fine end to the day as well. The clearer skies towards the southeast. A lot of the rain across Scotland will clear away as we go overnight, but there is some further rain set to come in from the west through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Outbreaks of rain mainly across western parts of Scotland, a bit further south as well. Fresher air in the north means temperatures here could drop to single figures in some prone spots, but further south it's another warm night to come. Temperatures holding up in mid to high teens Celsius. More showery rain across northern parts in particular through tomorrow. Some of this turning heavy, even thundery, especially across northern parts of Scotland through the day. Watch out for some higher rainfall totals building up here. Further south, apart from a few showers perhaps around some southern coastal parts, it is going to be dry, but not as hot as it has been today. Temperatures peaking around 28 Celsius.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. There is a collision on the M27 westbound between junctions 12 and 11 in Fareham. The M3 westbound at junction 11 in Winchester South is also affected by a collision. North of the border, the M80 southbound between junctions 6 and 6A has lane restrictions causing queues near Old Inns and Castlecarey. Across Wales, the A40 from Pensan West to Abergwili is affected by a collision. And on the trains, cross-country services are disrupted between Exeter St David's and Paignton. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister says he wants to put politics aside to fix Britain's broken social care system.
And crisis talks are being billed as a cross-party summit, but one party won't be in the room, as Reform UK hasn't been invited.
Well, the Liberal Democrats' social care spokesperson Alison Bennett joined us on breakfast earlier.
I don't think we're quite on the page at the moment of knowing how this might be paid for, and there are lots of different options out there.
Elsewhere, Labour's giveaway. Parents on benefits could get thousands of pounds if their children become apprentices. But what about working families paying the taxes?
We'll commit, in my time in office, to get the number of young people who are not in education, employment or training down.
Refusing to apologise despite mounting criticism, Zach Polansky says he's got nothing to apologise for after sharing an image of a T-shirt depicting a guillotine alongside a message about Nigel Farage.
And yet you won't apologise because you're blaming Nigel Farage for amplifying it.
I think we also need to talk about a double standard.
No, you keep taking the conversation on.
Yes, crossings are continuing, aren't they? More illegal migrants continue to try and cross the English Channel and land on Britain's beaches. The Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp joined GB News Breakfast earlier.
We're in France now. France is not a war zone. France is a perfectly safe place. We could ask someone, can you tell me why it is you're planning to get on a small boat later on today and come to the UK? No, I don't speak English. You don't speak English. Whereabouts are you from? Whereabouts are you from? Where, sorry? No, doesn't apparently speak English.
A continent in flames. Hundreds of thousands of people flee Spain and France as record-breaking wildfires continue to savage the region.
Yeah, and we are on the outskirts of that area of devastation, 4 times the size of Paris. Fire engines coming here to fill up, to fight fires as close as just 100 metres away from where we're standing.
And as temperatures hot up in the UK, there's concerns that there could be wildfires in places like this one. We're at the North York Moors here, and we'll be speaking to the Country and Land Association and a landowner here about Labour's burning ban.
A real north-south split today, fresher, cloudier, wetter across northern parts, but towards the south and southeast, well, here it's going to be hot and sunny. Stick around to find out more.
Good morning, it's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast. All right, well, firefighters are continuing to battle major wildfires in France and Spain.
Yes, around 360,000 people have already been evacuated across the two countries, with the blaze in Spain described as the largest wildfire ever recorded in the country.
Well, meanwhile, the wildfire just outside Bordeaux in France has burned through an area 4 times the size of Paris.
Well, back here in Britain, a fourth heat wave is now underway for parts of the UK, with temperatures expected to climb into the mid-30s yet again later on this week.
And joining us now live from the south of France is GB News national reporter Will Godley. Will, thanks for joining us this morning. What are we seeing there on the ground in Bordeaux?
Well, good morning to both of you. Where we are is about 8 miles away from the outskirts of Bordeaux, on the outskirts of Bordeaux Airport. In fact, in the last 10 minutes, about 10 of these firefighting aircraft that are stationed at Bordeaux have just taken off. They'll be on their way to the sea before then coming back here. But where we are now is this refilling station. These tankers you're seeing going past your screen and stationed here have been filled with water from lakes nearby. They've been brought here to where the firefighters can access them more easily. This fire engine has just been topped up. It takes about 10 minutes to refill one of these massive fire engines, and they are then moving off into where the fire is. And we can just come this way because this actually is a military base here in France, but all the soldiers have been evacuated because they are enduring wildfires at the moment. You might just be able to see those smoke rising from the trees and water spilling out of that big tanker as it moves towards where the flames are. I'm told by the military here, this is normally somewhere at this time of year they'd be carrying out drills in the forest, but all the soldiers have been evacuated from here, and instead some members of the military here overseeing this wildfire operation. There are numerous fire engines here all fighting the fires in this forest. Now, this is a key area in the fight, and in fact on either sides of the roads they've been cutting down trees in order to make the fire breaks that much bigger, because this is as close as the fire is to Bordeaux right now. If the fire in this field is to cross over into the next set of fields, well then there's nothing stopping it for hundreds and hundreds of meters, getting it ever closer to Bordeaux. So that's why there's so much fire operations here. This really is the front line. Firefighters I've been speaking to really calling this a war of their own. This, of course, has been described by President Emmanuel Macron as the worst fire France has experienced since World War II. And it's not just French people who live here caught up in this, but also a number of British expats who have also had to evacuate. Some 40,000 British expats live in this area. Many of them have had to evacuate. And yesterday we were in the evacuation centre where some people have gone. Now that's an expo centre in Bordeaux, and yesterday they were evacuating campsites further off down this way, and some 4,000 people extra now into those evacuation centres. But down here really is the heart of this fire. It doesn't look burnt or singed on what you're seeing right now. That's because these are fields of corn, and what we're seeing is that the farmers have put out these sprinkler systems which is keeping everything damp, moist, and stop the fire from spreading into these fields here. But looking further down the road into where the wildfires really have taken hold over the last week, down towards Cap Ferret. Well, there's huge amounts of smoke and smog in the air, and you can taste it here where we're standing. We've been given these masks to wear because the air quality is so poor here, and as firefighters continue to fight the fires here, more smoke goes into the air and more of these are going to be needed.
OK, Will Godley, thank you very much. Do take care of yourself and Steve, the cameraman, as well.
Indeed. All right, look, back here in the United Kingdom, a fourth heat wave is gripping parts of England, with temperatures expected to soar to astonishing 35 degrees again in some areas.
Well, amber and yellow heat health alerts are in place as a plume of intense heat moves in from North Africa.
Well, GB News Yorkshire and Humber reporter Anna Riley is in North Yorkshire for us. Anna, how's the temperature where you are? Is it starting to heat up a little bit?
Good morning, Alex and Ellie. Luckily, we've got a breeze here at the moment, but it is set to get hotter with that fourth heat wave. We're here at Huttonley Hole in the North Yorkshire moors. You can see just behind us the vastness of these moors, and obviously as the heat intensifies, there's concern about wildfires. I'm now joined by George Windali. You're a landowner here. Just tell us about controlled burning and how Labour have banned it and the impact of that on land like this.
So during the winter, all year round, but particularly during the winter, we manage the fuel load here. We reduce the fuel load on these semi-natural habitats full of wildlife in order to reduce the risk of wildfires. So that if wildfire does strike, A, we can get on top of it and suppress it more easily, and B, the impact of it is less, because if you double the fuel load, you quadruple the intensity of that fire, and it's the intensity of fire which burns the peat, and that's the thing we don't want to do. So we do have these quick, cool burns in the winter to remove the surface vegetation, but leave the peat unharmed and the moss layer, etc., which is very important, unharmed. And that also produces a wonderful habitat, not only for this national park landscape, but also for all the birds and animals that live here.
Thank you, George. And I'll just move on to you, Gavin Lane. You're the president of the Country and Land Association. Just tell us about Labour sort of banning this burning and how it's sort of impossible to get a licence, and what your organisation wants to do about it.
Yeah, we just want it to be much easier to get the licence. We want the government to listen to people like George to understand what the problems are actually on the ground. Controlled burning is part of a toolkit that we need, which will include re-wetting, it will include grazing, but we can't just exclude burning out of the equation, because it's so important if we're going to protect landscapes here.
What is the impact, especially downwind as well as on natural habitats, if fires do get out of control? We had flying dales here in Yorkshire that lasted months, didn't it, that fire last summer?
Yeah, Langdale was very bad. We've obviously got the fire going on in Derbyshire at the moment. That is blowing into the sort of urban conurbations around Manchester. Smoke is really, really dangerous. It's life-threatening for certain vulnerable people, and so we've really got to control that. I'd urge everyone that's coming out into the moors during school holidays, just do not bring naked flames, do not bring barbecues, do not bring lanterns. We can't have a fire in this area.
Thank you, Gavin and George. So that's the message here on the North York moors, that Labour need to do more to support landowners, to support farmers, to stop wildfires getting out of control. And certainly if you are visiting beauty spots like this one, be careful with any flames. You don't want to set any fires off.
No, of course you don't. Anna Riley, thank you very much for bringing that to us from North Yorkshire.
Let's speak to another GB News reporter, South of England reporter Isabel Fekulak, who's in Bognor Regis today. Isabel, tell us more.
Well, good morning to you both, Ellie and Alex. Yes, I'm here at Bognor Regis, a beautiful seaside spot on the south coast of England. Now, of course, that fourth heat wave of the year is here. There's temperatures set to rise to 35 degrees here in the southeast. There is the amber heat health alert issued by the UK Heat Security Agency. That's for the East Midlands, east of England, southeast and London. People coming to this area though to cool off by the coast. It's a lot cooler. You've got the sea breeze here than in inner city places. We spoke to a gentleman this morning who'd come down from London to try and remain cool. I'm going to chat to some people now who are here on holiday. Hello guys. Morning. You enjoying the weather?
Yeah, it's really good. The breeze is fantastic, which we haven't got at home at all.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's really lovely, and it's we live in the suburbs, so the heat's quite impactful there, so it's much cooler here. Very, very nice.
And what are you guys doing to make the most of the weather?
We're actually staying at Butlin, so we've been doing all the kids stuff for the last few days, and now today we're going along the beach, probably going to the sea later, and just going into town and have a few ice creams, I think, Arabelle.
Yeah. Have you been having fun by the sea?
Yeah, I've been having fun by the sea. We just walked along it and we found lots of places that we can play in the sand for a bit later.
Brilliant. Well, have a lovely time on your holidays. Enjoy the cool breeze. We'll be chatting to lots of people down here at Bognor Regis throughout the day who are cooling off on the coast here.
Brilliant stuff, Isabel. Thank you so much.
In relation to Anna's report, a spokesperson for the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, indeed, said this: the government continues to strengthen our approach to wildlife resilience, wildfire, indeed, resilience, including improving cross-government coordination across the whole wildfire cycle. Do beg your pardon for the misreading there.
Well, we're also investing in measures designed to improve resilience and support biodiversity recovery, including peatland restoration, landscape-scale habitat recovery and stronger protections for upland peat.
I'm obviously rubbing off on you today, aren't I?
Well, clearly.
All right, look, let's get a Great British giveaway in, shall we? 60 grand in tax-free cash, 5 grand gold bar. Here's all the details.
It's the Great British Giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash that can make your bank account brilliant. And because it's tax-free, you get to keep every single penny. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. You could give that to your children, your grandchildren, or just invest it for the future. What would you do with it? Just make sure you don't miss your chance to win £60,000 cash and a fine gold bar. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come. As Andy Burnham holds cross-party crisis talks on social care, there is one noticeable absence. And will the Prime Minister's plans go far enough? We're going to get into all of that next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're
the failure is
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back. The Prime Minister says he wants to put politics aside to fix Britain's broken social care system, with plans for a new tax on workers now being considered to help pay for it.
Yes, but while the Conservatives and the Lib Dems have been invited to these crisis talks today, Nigel Farage and Reform UK appear to have been shut out.
Right, well, let's speak to the chair of Social Care Foundation, Damien Green. Damien Green, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Perhaps let's just start with the obvious. I think most people agree social care is broken in this country, but how on earth do we fix it? And how the Prime Minister wants to find common ground. Is there any?
Well, there hasn't been in the past. I mean, I think he's right to address it as a serious issue, and he's right to try and seek consensus across the political landscape. But all history tells us that that's going to be very difficult to achieve because it's a genuinely difficult question. The reason why the political system has not gripped it for so long is that people have to be confronted with the reality that one of the things we need to do is spend more money, and that money either has to come from individuals agreeing to spend it themselves or through taxation. And that's an uncomfortable truth that basically the British population has not yet got its head around.
Damien, do you have hope that this time will be different? We were just speaking to Alison Bennett, the Liberal Democrat Care and Carers spokesperson, and she was describing how talks such as these, they've been tried 22 times before. This is number 23. Do you have hope that this will be different this time?
I do, purely because the Prime Minister has made such a big thing about it. And from my experience inside government, I was responsible for this policy for a time when I was first Secretary of State. And it was clear to me then that unless it was driven from the top of government, it always fell down the political agenda. It was never the most important thing on the Secretary of State for Health's agenda. So I think it's good that the Prime Minister is trying to drive it forward. I think I wish him luck in trying to find political consensus. I suspect he won't find it, and he will have to just drive through the reforms he needs to on his own. And my main sort of hope and fear is that one of the things that needs to be done that may or may not be done is not just have a huge political row about how we fund it, about what balance between individual and tax payments we make, but that we just do that and not have a discussion about all the other things that need to change in social care, about the workforce, about the way it links with the NHS, about the ease of access for individuals. It's a hugely complex system. There are all these very big issues as well as the funding issue. And in the past, the political debate has just ended up being about how we pay for it.
Well, let's just, I mean, you've been a minister yourself, Mr Green. You understand that the politics is going to be played here. The last time Theresa May tried this under her Conservative government, it was dubbed a dementia tax. And, most people attribute that to cratering, the Tories cratering in the polls, which lost her quite a significant majority. Is this really a popular idea?
Well, no, it's, as I say, it's everyone says we need to solve social care. Governments then come back and say, OK, well, we want to do this, this and this, whatever it is. It's going to cost some money. And people say, oh, we don't like that. And so it does become politically unpopular. I mean, you're completely right about the 2017 election. And of course, before that, in 2010, when Andy Burnham was Health Secretary, he proposed funding it from inheritance tax, which was dubbed the death tax. And so both major parties have damaged the other at election campaigns. The one lesson I draw from that is that don't have this conversation starting just before an election. Have it in midterm, as we effectively are now, so that the heat can be dissipated when you're not actually facing the electorate.
Indeed.
OK, well, Chair of the Social Care Foundation, Damien Green, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you. All right, well, coming up at 9:30, Charlie, Peter, Samir and Kate are here for Britain's Newsroom.
Good morning.
What have you got today?
Well, lots coming up, and we will be going live at around 10 o'clock to the Prime Minister, who is making a speech announcing these proposed changes in social care. So we'll be live for that. Of course, lots of our viewers very interested in this topic. As your guest just said, it's been a long time coming, these reforms.
Yeah.
There's also this remarkable piece of work by Jack Carson on the HMO street in Nottinghamshire. We'll be having a broader discussion about that, diving into that report and getting also local reaction to that as well. It's such an important piece that Jack has done, because all the time when we cover the issue about small boat migrants or immigration more generally, lots of people get in touch and say this is a big issue in our area. So it's very good, I think, that GB News is covering that story today.
Absolutely. More on the wildfires abroad, but also at home. We'll be looking at why farmers aren't allowed to burn heather anymore. It used to be the way that farmers stopped wildfires. 73% down those burnings since some new regulations came in. So we'll be talking to some farmers about that.
Lots to get your teeth into there, indeed. And I do wonder, you've got lots of this social care stuff today. It is going to be somewhat toxic politically. Nigel Farage has been cut out. Maybe he will be happy that he wasn't.
Quite possibly. Though he's not technically an MP at the moment. I wonder if that's partly to do with it.
Yes.
So, yes, lots coming up on Britain's Newsroom.
See you then. Well, all of that coming up very shortly. It's been a pleasure to tease our programme. You'll enjoy it very shortly after the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, this is your GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. There's a bit more rain to come across northern parts today, whilst further south the dry and hot weather continues with temperatures in the southeast higher than yesterday. Let's first though talk about the rain across northern areas. A band of rain, not especially heavy this morning, but could pep up into something but more persistent, running across Northern Ireland into central parts of Scotland. And there are a few outbreaks of rain across other northern areas too, and here it's quite cloudy. More sunshine there across central southern parts of England in particular, and in the southeast, like I said, markedly hotter than yesterday. Highs of around 35 Celsius. Could be the 7th day this year where somewhere in the UK exceeds 35. Into the evening, and it's generally dry across northern parts of Scotland. A few outbreaks of rain here and there, maybe even some glimmers of sunshine, but generally quite cloudy. Wetter